We welcome you to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. The SEC football fraternity is giving Missouri a chance to crash the party. And oh, what a party they've been throwing here in Columbia this week. Tiger fans believe that they're ready for the big time. The dogs have heard the talk. They've read the headlines. This is the SEC. This is the show in the Show Me State.
I'm telling you, Columbia can be a crazy place to play.
Oh, it's going to be loud.
Tonight the Zoo will be rocking.
It's a big game because it's a very historic game.
I've watched Missouri play. I think they fit into our conference pretty good.
They can beat anybody in our league. There's no doubt about that.
We play mediocre football at best in the Big 12.
They will be trying to prove that they belong in the SEC.
Missouri is going to stamp their name into the SEC with the win come Saturday night.
Georgia's defense is tough. You know, they're big, and they're nasty, and they're fast.
Georgia's very fast, very quick.
Georgia's offense is explosive.
The speed is what we all forget about.
It's historical for them. First game ever in the Southeastern Conference, so it's big.
It's always a big-time game when you play in this football conference.
To say it's big is probably an understatement.
It's just another Saturday in the SEC.
You're watching the SEC on ESPN. As we welcome you to Columbia, Missouri, Memorial Stadium, Missouri's first game as a member of the Southeastern Conference, and a traditional Southern power has come to town. The Georgia Bulldogs are the number 7 team in the country. Glad you're with us here tonight. Joe Tessitore alongside Matt Millen. And Matt, they finally have arrived in the SEC. There are going to be doubters. There are going to be those out there that wonder if Missouri can handle this. How can they handle number 7 tonight?
They do exactly what they've been doing and what got them into this conference. And so use your pace offensively. Spread them out. That's what you're used to. Continue to do it. Defensively, what do you have in your arsenal? You have quickness. You have athleticism. Use it to your advantage. They're going to have to meet the power, and they're going to have to meet it head on.
Missouri's defensive tackle, Sheldon Richardson, you see how amped up they are. He sparked things this week. He gave that quote that took sports talk radio to the next level, calling Georgia's style of play old man football. What's Georgia's offense going to offer up for Mr. Sheldon Richardson and company?
A heavy dose of old man football. They're not going to change. They are what they are, and they do it well. And so what are they? They're big, they're physical, they come off the ball, they have a bevy of young runners who will get after you. Oh, and did I forget to mention, they have Aaron Murray. Aaron Murray is accurate. He's an accomplished thrower in the SEC. They will rely heavy on Aaron Murray here tonight.
Yep, the Tigers have arrived, as have the Dogs. Missouri's been waiting for this moment. They say they want to take on some of those SEC traditions. Looking the part, acting the part, being the Zoo. Well, welcome to the SEC, Missouri. Kickoff when we come back to Columbia.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by the Dr. Pepper Tuition Giveaway. Learn more at drpepper.com. And tailgating staples, Kingsford Charcoal and Walmart Choice Premium Steaks. And for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate trip, go to espn.com/Kingsford. College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Just about ready for kickoff here in Columbia, Missouri. Mizzou and number 7 Georgia, an SEC East battle. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen with you in the booth. So glad to have Quint Kesnick down on the field today. Quint?
Well, significant storyline for Georgia. Their defense will be without 4 starters due to suspensions. They did not travel with the team this weekend. You look at these, break these suspensions down. You got 2 members of the secondary, Bakari Rambo and Sanders Cummings, and 2 linebackers, Alec Ogletree and Chase Vassar. Spoke to Georgia coach Mark Richt a few minutes ago. Keep in mind that these suspensions were not a surprise. They've known for weeks. He said they've been preparing all summer, taking a team approach. We have more than 11 stars, he told me, and he was really encouraged with what he saw last week. He hopes they take a positive step after that game against Buffalo. He said they're a little vulnerable in the secondary, a little light in numbers, and they'll be tested by Missouri's up-tempo spread. Joe?
Of course, they do have, as you see Mark Richt, 12th year, they do have one of the best players in all of college football on the defensive side, Jarvis Jones, and we've heard plenty from Gary Pinkel this week about how talented Jones is. Pinkel in his 12th year as well at Mizzou. 159 career wins, 9th best among active coaches. They have arrived in more ways than one. Crowd here, they get the sense that in a way they got past the velvet rope and into the club. Now they have to prove that they belong. Missouri won the toss and will receive. T.J. Moe back deep. Marshall Morgan, the true freshman, to kick off the SEC in the zoo. And it is fielded at the 11-yard line. That is Jimmy Hunt, who gets it to the 26. Junior quarterback for the Tigers is James Franklin. Overcame offseason shoulder surgery. He's a dual threat star, Matt.
And he can do it, like you said, with his feet, with his arm. He's accurate. He sees the field. He is going to be the main cog in this offense here tonight.
And right now, he's lined up at receiver as they start the game with Kendall Lawrence, the starting tailback, getting a high direct snap. So how about that? The first play in the SEC for Missouri, and they go with their tailback lined up at Wildcat. Tackled by Cornelius Washington.
Now they're going to go with a fast pace here. One of the things you're going to have to do is do what they do and just do it well. And that means get Franklin the ball, okay? Let him be able to direct this offense and spread this defense out a little bit.
Loss of 2. Now they hand off to T.J. Moe, and Moe is shifty as he's able to get it to the 28. The impact players for Missouri brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, when you take a good look at him, you saw Kendall Lawrence the first time. T.J. Moe is the guy who moves the chains all the time. The freshman, Doyle Green-Beckham, is a guy who's a work in progress, but he has big playability. E.J. Gaines on the corner is a guy they're going to have to rely on in that passing game.
Empty backfield, 4 receivers to the near side for Mizzou on 3rd and 8. Kendall Lawrence in the slot. As a high snap, that's been an issue so far in this young season, and Franklin smart to just jump on it inside the 5-yard line. But center Mitch Morse had trouble a week ago with his snaps being high and off center.
And they talked about working on it all week long. They thought that they had been able to handle it, but George is smart. See what George did? They put Big John Jenkins, a 350-pounder, right over Morse's nose and made him think about that 2 out of the first 3 plays.
So now Trey Barrow has to punt from his own end zone as Damian Swan is back at the Missouri 46, looking to set up good field position for the Dogs. And a flag comes in just before the snap.
Offense, half the distance to the goal remains. 4th out.
Yeah, Joe, you just look at this Missouri offense, and they're showing right now. They got the penalty. They've 2 bad snaps. They have to stay in character because they have to be able to kind of manage the pressure that comes along with this type of game.
Barrow able to get it off, and he drives Swan back to the 49. Swan able to get past the first wave and then darts his way to the 37-yard line. 45-yard punt, 10-yard return. Aaron Murray, the junior from Tampa, Florida, has thrown for over 3,000 yards the last couple years. No SEC quarterback has ever gone over 3,000 3 years in a row.
They know they can rely on their quarterback. And last week, they were able to establish the run game early with the freshman Gurley, who's in there right now.
And on the pitch, that's a loose ball, and the freshman Todd Gurley is able to fall on it. That was Kip Edwards who came up defensively. So both teams a little shaky in this high-pressure atmosphere here in Columbia. That's a loss of 8.
And look who's going with the fast pace. Yeah, that should have been caught. Gurley took his eyes off it. But Georgia getting to the line of scrimmage with a little bit of sugar huddle and trying to quicken the pace themselves.
Giving Missouri a taste of their own medicine. 2nd and 18 now. Here's Murray, pressure up the middle. He gets it off right over the middle that time as he looked to Michael Bennett. And it'll be 3rd and long. Sheldon Richardson made all the headlines this week. Offensive tackle, he's a big one, a good-looking pro prospect. You know what he said? One thing that stands out, talking about last week's Georgia game, said, "I turned it off. It's old man football." Mark Ripp said, "You know what? Hey, I'm over 50. I get those AARP letters. I like old man football. I like running the ball and playing conservative."
He's standing up right in the middle of that defense. He's the guy. He's the main cog in that whole defensive front. He's their best player.
3rd and 14 now for Murray. Pressure up the middle again. And he is taken down at midfield by Brad Madison.
Tess, sometimes you got to be the guy to make the play, and you can do it in a lot of different ways. When they know you're the best player, they're going to put a double team on you, and that's what they do. See him inside, they come back down inside, and that allows Madison to get from the inside. A nice call by defensive coordinator Dave Steckel.
Colin Barber, freshman punter on for Georgia. Marcus Murphy had 2 touchdown returns a week ago. A little pressure on the freshman Barber. And this sails out the near sideline. Missouri made a mistake early. They didn't have to pay the price. Came up with the sack of Murray. Columbia, Missouri, just off I-70, right in the middle of the state, where you see the billboard. Welcome to the SEC family. Missouri's 2nd offensive possession, 3 plays for minus 24 yards the last time they were out there. James Franklin, another snap that was off to the side that time. Remember, that was a major issue last time out. This one goes to John McGaffey.
That's a well-thrown ball. You know, one of the things they talk about with the SEC is all the speed and all the size and all. Where speed really makes a difference is in the passing game. And it's in particular in the secondary, because they close on the ball so fast, you have to be more accurate as a thrower.
He's going to run it himself on 2nd and 6. And the guy they call the tank, standing upright against most of that Georgia defense, Gilliard and Herrera on the tackle of Franklin. See, the helmet came off there. Of course, the new rule in college football, if the helmet comes off, the player must leave the field for the next play.
That's a big deal, unless it was forcibly taken off by a defender. And
see it loosening up there in the midst of that pile.
Yeah, that's going to teach them to get down faster.
So Corbin Bergstresser comes in on a 3rd and 3, and this is what coaches dreaded, losing your star quarterback on a key 3rd down. Play clock down to 2 as they had to change quarterbacks. They get off the snap. Bergstresser, he's going to be close to that 1st down, maybe just short that time, as Jarvis Jones, the All-American linebacker, made the tackle.
You know, that brings up a major point. If you lose your first-team guy like that, there's only a small amount of plays that you have with your backup guy. And he's a big kid. They like Bergstresser, but he's not in the flow, so they gave it to him to try to use his legs to beat him.
And he is short. It is a 4th and 1. The emphasis on the helmets fitting properly, player safety, it's become a major concern in the game, so this is the way they're trying to solve it. Trey Barrow on to punt again, and Swan and Malcolm Mitchell is back healthy this week after missing last week. Back to return. This is a good punt by Barrow. He drives this ball all the way inside the 10-yard line, where it is down by Mizzou. Big boot by the senior punter.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Because when friends come together, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And in part by the Volkswagen Passat, 2012 Motor Trend Car of the Year.
It's one of the long-standing traditions here at Mizzou. They put those incoming freshmen to work. The rocks that make up the M in the end zone, well, freshen them up, paint them, and then find a seat when it's a sold-out game.
Ooh, tell you what, that doesn't look like a comfortable place to lay down.
Not much room here tonight. One of the biggest crowds they've ever had. Georgia back to business. Todd Gurley, the freshman running back, with a gain of about 3. Impact players for Georgia, Matt, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Well, when you watch this Georgia team, Todd Gurley, a freshman running back, just a week ago had over 100 yards. They need to rely on him. Tavares King has speed down the field. Jarvis Jones, defensively, you have to be able to count for him on every play.
2nd and 7. Gurley went for 12.5 yards a carry in his college debut. Here's Murray. And Murray gets it complete to Marlon Brown, and that'll move the chains out to the 25-yard line. He didn't play a week ago, was dealing with a strained hamstring.
And they're going to go with a little bit quicker pace. Nice protection up front, and that allowed Murray to be able to just pick and choose. That's what he's outstanding at.
Here's Gurley. And he uses that block and rides the defender out past the 31. All right, Matt, let's talk about your game plan. What can be exploited, what has to be accounted for, and what can be attacked?
Well, when you look at Georgia, they've got size up front, so they have to use that to their advantage, and you want not to wear on them all night long. And then Sheldon Richardson's the key inside. You got to handle him. Use Murray's experience. That comes when you really protect well.
2nd and 4. Again, they keep it on the ground, and Todd Gurley, look at him go. Just driving those legs through defenders. It was Braylon Webb, the free safety, who came up, but Gurley went right through him for a gain of 12.
And that starts all up front, and that's what we're talking about. If you're going to run inside there, you have to handle Sheldon Brown, and then that big offensive line, who looked a little lethargic a week ago. It looks like they're getting on people right now.
So the Georgia running game finding its groove here on this drive. That time, nothing doing. Met in the backfield right away by Shane Ray, a loss of 3.
Just came off that edge. Shane Ray is just a redshirt freshman, but you see what they did right there? They slanted. So they're using their speed and their athleticism to try to counter the big size of that Georgia offense. When you start moving people like that, you get an advantage, but sometimes you can give up a big play.
Ray's a guy who can move. They love his quickness. 2nd and 13. Now Murray's going to tuck it and run it himself as he gets to the 46. It'll bring up a 3rd down. That was Ebner and Webb on the tackle of the junior quarterback.
Have to win on 3rd down. This is where Richardson becomes a key. And defensive coordinator Dave Steckel, on the last 3rd down, he went to that kind of amoeba front, moving around to try to confuse the protection of that Georgia offensive front. Looks like they're doing it again.
Ken Malcolm comes into the backfield now. Sophomore, a little more experience in pass protection. 3rd and 7 for Murray. Murray with time, and that is complete inside the 35. A flag is down at the line of scrimmage. May have been movement on the right tackle, John Theus.
Now, part of that is what's going on up front. Yeah, it looks like Theus the right tackle.
False start. And the 71 offense, 5-yard penalty remains 3rd down.
Tom Ritter leads this SEC crew we have tonight.
The test, when that happens, you're going to see him right here on the edge. When that happens, you see how the defenders are all standing around. See, offensively, you don't know who's coming. And so your mind is going a mile a minute, and you start thinking about the guy in front of you. Do I go back inside? Do I stay big on big outside? And then that gets you a little bit jumpy.
True freshman playing in a spot that'll test you in a game that's had a very nervous tone to it so far. So we've seen bad snaps, a little bit of movement, and now a 3rd and 12, a little more pressure on Murray.
Timeout, Georgia.
A timeout called by Georgia. We'll take a break. 3rd and 12 when we return. Later tonight on ESPN, a 10:30 kick for Illinois and Arizona State. Of course, Matt, 2 new head coaches there. Tim Beckman with the Illini. Todd Graham made the move over from Pitt to the desert. Big 10 Pac-12 matchup later tonight, 10:30 kick on ESPN. There's Big Sheldon, one who spoke up this week. There's Aaron Murray, and it's 3rd and 12, Georgia. Need to cross midfield and get just inside the 47-yard line of Mizzou. And Mizzou is getting loud. They keep it on the ground with Malcolm, and the ball came loose right at the end as there's a fight for the ball right at midfield. Braylon Webb and Ken Malcolm diving on it there. As it'll stay with Georgia.
Yeah, he said white ball.
But he will be short of the line to make, so Georgia will send out the punt team at midfield.
You know, just watching this game, as you're watching Xavier Gooden does a nice job working off the block and making that tackle. Joe, it appears that whichever team settles down first, they're going to have the advantage. Because right now, both teams look like they're a little jumpy.
So jittery here. Both teams making mistakes. There's been so much anticipation for this game. Missouri finally in the SEC. Colin Barber now to punt. Marcus Murphy waiting for the fair catch. Months of anticipation for this moment for Mizzou. We talked about what Georgia has to do. Matt, you watched so much tape on Missouri this week. Your game plan for the Tigers?
Well, I think the biggest thing is they like to go at a pace. Now, they need to make that pace an advantage for them. They need to make it work to their side. So far, that has not happened, mostly due to poor snaps. Then, when they're running the ball, they're not going to run it inside. They have to get to an edge and stay on the edge to try to use their speed, because inside, John Jenkins is just a beast.
Three receivers to the near side for Franklin, including T.J. Moe in the slot. And he looks to Moe, and Moe gets the completion and drives to the 25-yard line. Should be good for a first down.
Whenever they need something, T.J. Moe is the guy they go to, number 28. He's kind of like Wes Welker. He's a guy who understands the pass game. He understands this offense. He knows how to get open.
They hurry up to the line and snap. There's a rush on Franklin. He dumps it off to Lawrence. A flag is down as Lawrence tries to break free, and another flag comes down. That seemed like an obvious face mask at the end of that run by Kendall Lawrence.
This is part of the thing that we're talking about with letting the pace. That's what they do. This Missouri offense is used to it, and they go kind of at warp speed at times.
There were 2 fouls on the play. Illegal formation. Number 72 was not on the line of scrimmage. Personal foul, face mask on the defense. Those penalties offset, replay first down.
Elvis Fisher is their best offensive lineman, and you can see the frustration with Gary Pinkel as they're saying they didn't have 7 men on the line of scrimmage.
I don't think Gary Pinkel's too happy about that. Elvis Fisher, the left tackle. Now, his helmet has to be at the bottom of the numbers of that center.
Franklin now, he just throws that up and out as the pressure came from Jarvis Jones, and there is a flag back there near James Franklin.
We talked about Jarvis Jones.
Maybe grounding here.
We talked about Jarvis Jones. He's the SEC sack leader from a year ago. A week ago, same thing. You're going to watch him right at the top, number 29. He's a speed guy.
Intentional grounding. Number 1, offense. The player was not out of the tackle box, and there was no receiver in the area. Lost down, second down.
And that's what Jarvis Jones can do. Last year, he led the SEC at 13.5 sacks. That was just a half sack off David Pollock's school record of 14 back in 2002.
Now, Justin Britt, the right tackle, number 68, in his set, he's got to get depth first instead of trying to get width. Let Jarvis Jones come to him, not him go to Jones.
There's Franklin now, just going to keep it and try to recover some of that loss by the penalty as Michael Gilliard wraps up James Franklin.
So, Tess, what they do then is they're going to let Jarvis Jones come up the field. You want to rush like a madman? Go ahead. We're going to come back underneath you. That's one of the ways they're going to try to slow him down. See, they're going to force him upfield, make him redirect, and then Franklin takes advantage of it. That'll slow him down just a tad.
Make him think a little bit. Franklin keeps doing that. All set, it's a 3rd and 14. Empty backfield for Franklin. There's a stunt with a little bit of pressure. He goes down the sideline, and that is incomplete. As he was looking for Dorial Green Beckham, who was the #1 recruit in the country a year ago. The pressure came from Avery Jones off the edge.
And Beckham was covered like a blanket. And they just did a really nice job of running with him. He's a talented kid, but he's raw. He's got a long ways to go in terms of becoming an accomplished receiver. But all the physical skills are there. We watch him out at practice. He can run. He can get out of breaks. His feet are good. He just doesn't quite know how to run routes at this level that's going to beat a defender yet.
Trey Burrow had a 60-yard punt last time he was out on the field. Damian Swan. Driven back again is the return man. And it takes a Mizzou bounce inside the 20. Down close to the 16-yard line. We are scoreless here in Como. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. And a beautiful night here in Columbia, Missouri. The first of hopefully many big game experiences they have in the SEC East. By the way, the ball being respotted after that punt. I went back and looked. Said Xavier Smith touched it as he came downfield. First quarter jitters indeed. Both teams struggling to find themselves offensively. So after they remark it, it is first down at the 34, and this is Keith Marshall, the other top freshman running back for Georgia. Just a minimal gain as Xavier Gooden had the tackle.
And Coney Ely, here's a good-looking rascal for you. Number 47. He plays, he's a defensive end on the outside. He's about 265 pounds, but he can run. Just a sophomore. He's got something to him. He's going to be the next in line to be one of the good pass rushers here at Missouri.
2nd and 9. Keith Marshall stays in at tailback. He was one of the top recruits in the country a year ago. Georgia able to land him as well as Todd Gurley. Remember, Isaiah Crowell dismissed from the team, but they have young talent. Murray now, play action, and that is incomplete. Tavares King was looking for the flag as he was covered by the very talented E.J. Gaines.
When you watch this Missouri defense, they put a lot on E.J. Gaines. They give him this a lot of times. He has great awareness. You saw that at the end. He stopped, turned, got the head around, knocked the ball away, sets up this big 3rd down.
First team all Big 12 player a year ago. He's got a tough matchup tonight. Crowd cranked up for 3rd and 9. They pick up the pressure. And trying to come back to the ball was Rantavius Wooten, but it goes incomplete. And once again, it was Gaines on the coverage.
Gaines right on top of it. Now, what they're doing, they're giving speed to Gaines. Wooten can flat out fly. And so he tried to throw it back shoulder. Now watch Gaines' position. See how he stays stopped, top shoulder, and watching the eyes. He looked, I look. That's really well done.
Both teams now 0 for 3 on 3rd down. Colin Barber comes back in, and Marcus Murphy became the first Tiger ever with 2 punt returns for a touchdown in the game a week ago. This is a high punt. Fair catch called for, and he was interfered with.
That's a new rule, Joe.
That was Blake Sailors.
If you come from the side, they won't do it. But if you come straight down the front, you have to give them at least a yard in front to allow the receiver to catch the ball. And he clearly doesn't do that.
Hang time was over 5 there, but the penalty came in. There's a new rule that you cited, Matt.
And you can see it's a foul with or without contact. It's a 1-yard area in front of him.
Of course, a few new rules that have gotten everybody's attention so far. Not just that, with the punt, the helmet rule, the kickoffs now from the 35-yard line, touchbacks brought out to the 25. So a new look for college football here in 2012. And of course, among all the changes, this perhaps the biggest, the new look SEC. Missouri back to offense. James Franklin in the gun. Once they get going, they want to go at a high pace. But so far it's been difficult to do. Marcus Murphy now try to muscle his way out to the 44-yard line.
You know, we said at the start of this game that if you're this Missouri offense, you have to be able to identify exactly where Jarvis Jones is going to be. That's him right there, number 29. And what makes him so good, he's going against Elvis Fisher, an offensive tackle. He's handling perfectly.
Franklin gets it complete past midfield to Marcus Lucas. A first down for Mizzou and into Georgia territory. See, quick to get over the ball. Snapping at 25. And a slant this time right back to Lucas. 7-yard completion here. And look at Missouri hurry up. They want that ball set and they want to go.
That's pace to their advantage. That's what we were talking about at the start.
And here's what Franklin can do so well as he dives ahead for what seems to be a good enough mark for the first down, tackled by Herrera. There's Dave Yost, the long-haired offensive coordinator, quite a character, willing to do anything. We saw that on the first play of the game when he went Wildcat with Kendall Lawrence to open up their SEC play.
Yeah, you're better off. Sometimes you trick yourself. They bring in another tackle right here to bring in 2 guys in.
They're going to mark this short, so it is going to be 3rd and short here, less than 1 with Murphy in the backfield.
See if they don't get to an edge,
tighten up that line. And Franklin's going to easily just plow forward. In fact, he picks up a couple of yards, so it is a first down.
Saw big Kwame Gathers in there. It's 360 pounds, number 99. They brought their beef in. John Jenkins, another 350-pounder on the inside. They just ran right at him.
Now Murphy splits to the near side. 4 receivers to the top for Franklin. There's Murphy now. Franklin's going to keep it himself, and he gets tied up. It was Jarvis Jones who came around and got Franklin.
Now they were reading off of Jarvis Jones. He was the read right there. And so Franklin is going to watch him. He's either hand it, so he thought he was going to go outside. Jones put himself in perfect position, redirected, came back down inside.
I love how Jones just throws his body around.
I watched him last year, and you could see how he progressively got better a year ago, and he's picking up the pace from where he was just a year ago.
Just relentless out there is Jones. All-American linebacker. 2nd and 8 now. This is Murphy. And Murphy that time is ridden down by 360-pound John Jenkins. It was shaky for both teams early in the first. Now Missouri driving here at the end of 1.
Well, I mean, I'm reading comments that they feel like they've got something to prove. I mean, people are trying to make them out to be some kind of team that doesn't belong. But when I watch film, they belong. Believe me, they can beat anybody in our league. There's no doubt about that.
Mark Ricks on Missouri's entree into the SEC as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Miller Lite, the SEC on ESPN. 3rd and 4. Missouri finally finding some success against this Georgia defense. James Franklin looking over that front.
Man-to-man down below. Safety's inside.
He's going to try to do it himself, and he can get nowhere. That was Christian Robinson making the play on James Franklin. And keep in mind the suspension of Alec Ogletree and Vassar. So a guy like Robinson really stepping up in a spot like this.
Yeah, and he's no slouch. Now, Robinson's a good player. He played pretty good last week. That's a nice play right there. If they're testing him, they went right after him.
Keeping the offense in here on 4th down. 4th and 3. Lawrence and Murphy both in the backfield. with James Franklin. And now Georgia is going to use a timeout. Some speed on the field here tonight with this SEC showdown. But I don't believe there's a faster player in college football than DeAnthony Thomas, man.
Tessa, I don't believe there's a faster team than the Oregon Ducks.
Agreed.
I just was so impressed. Not who they played, how they did it. They were just, and they go 100 miles an hour. Everybody.
Robinson had the big play on 3rd down. Now somebody's got to step up here on 4th and 3. Empty backfield for Franklin. Kendall Lawrence, the tailback, is wide to the top of your screen. TJ Moe is always one of his favorite targets in a spot like this. Going to try to keep it on the ground, and he gets it and more inside the 20. Ball came loose right at the end. A fight for the ball at the end of that 4th down play.
Franklin scooped it back up, Tess.
And Missouri retains possession. Jarvis Jones was in getting after the ball there.
So what they're doing, they're spreading them out so Franklin can see everything. Just get a body on a body. That's what they did well inside. And Franklin, he's got to go down faster. He's going to get himself hurt trying to just be a fullback. He's a quarterback.
Just reaching out with that arm and pulling it back to his stretched out body. So a 1st down at the 14-yard line. They go empty again. They set up the screen. Here is DGB, and he twists and turns his way to the 14. That is Dorial Green Beckham. Everybody wanted him a year ago. He was the top player coming out of high school ball, and he chose Mizzou over other SEC schools, including Arkansas, who was a finalist on his list.
6'6", you can take advantage of that down here in this red zone. Put the ball up high for him. He'll beat everybody out there.
2nd and 5 now. Ball is loose. And it's still loose as it's scooted out, and now it is Herrera who recovers it. Franklin tried to jump on it. It came free again, and then Marlo Herrera was in the right place at the right time.
Rule number 1, don't beat yourself. They had a nice drive going. They went all the way down, and then they beat themselves.
Neither offense able to break through here tonight so far. Costly turnover for Mizzou. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Glad you're watching the SEC on ESPN with us here in Columbia, Missouri. Home crowd thought they had something cooking, and then the costly turnover, Matt.
Well, I want to show you how to play defense in the option. This is how it's going to be blocked here. They're going to pull this guy around for the backer. The backer's going to come across. Here's your key. It's Jarvis Jones. What it turns into is about patience right there. That's the mesh point. And so the offense wants the defense to be defined, and he did not. He slowed it down and made the offense define it, and the net result is a fumble.
Jones, one of the very best in the game. Aaron Murray. An I formation attack by Georgia. Play action, Murray. That ball is intercepted. It is Donovan Bonner with the pick. So they trade turnovers, and the Zoo is back in business.
Tess, Bonner never bit. That was the whole key. Bonner got back, never bit. They were going to try to hit the middle of that field, but a great drop by Bonner. I mean, he read that play action so fast and got deep in his zone. Watch Bonner in the middle. See him? Watch him get out of there. That is really well done. Flips his hips, eyeballed the quarterback, did everything you're supposed to do. Nicely played.
Pressure came from Michael Sam on Aaron Murray, and then look at that play on the ball by Donovan Bonner.
I get a little happy when I see good linebacker play.
Franklin, quick strike is well off the mark. Brings you back to your days. Getting after that ball.
He's going to try to, yeah, very rarely was I in that position. Trust me, I'd still be biting on the play action.
You'd be rooting on your teammates as they're running down the field.
Yeah, that was really well played, Donovan Bonner.
James Franklin, guy they call the Tank, accounted for 36 touchdowns a year ago. We've got goose eggs on the board here in the second quarter. 2nd and 10. Franklin. Franklin lowers his head just inside the 20-yard line.
So, what Dave Yost, the offensive coordinator for Missouri, is doing, when all things are starting to get a little dicey out there, they put everything squarely on the shoulders of Franklin.
They trust him so much. Mark Richt was quick to tell us, as you see Dave Yost thinking about this 3rd and 5 here. Richt told us, listen, we really have our work cut out for us defending Franklin. Everybody's been talking about, all right, how do they fit into the SEC? He says, this kid, James Franklin, is a problem for any SEC defense. Play clock under 5. You see Gary Pinkel signaling for the timeout.
Ironically, we expected high pace tests. We've been getting a slowed down version of this Missouri offense.
3rd and 5 when we return. You're watching the SEC on ESPN.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by your local Scion dealer and Wrangler, real, comfortable jeans.
Downtown Columbia, you can buy anything black and gold, announcing the SEC in town. They're talking about their cultural fit in the conference and acting and dressing the part of an SEC school. Now look at this crowd here. A lot of gold. 3rd and 5, and that ball is incomplete as he was looking to connect that time with John McGaffey. So bring up a 4th down. The coverage came from Malcolm Mitchell, the two-way player for Georgia.
Who's a very good player, Malcolm Mitchell. McGaffey tried to get the inside on him. Mitchell, an accomplished receiver, turned into a pretty good cover corner here.
Andrew Baggett. This will be his first collegiate field goal attempt. Comes from 37 yards out. And there are the first points in the SEC for Mizzou. He had 38 plays prior to that. And you talked about old man football all week. Well, both sides combined for 67 total yards up until this point. A lot of miscues.
Yeah, what we got is jittery football. And so you had, bad snaps and fumbles, and then another fumble on the exchange, and then an interception. Ironically, the interception, of course, set up the first points of the game. Donovan Bonner right there with a big pick. That ended up giving him 3. But what we've seen so far is, like you can see, the fumbles, miscues. I think a lot of nerves here. I think they're starting to settle down. Now we're going to see the better part of football.
Quinn?
From field level, guys, one thing you notice about Mizzou, early in the ball game, the center quarterback shotgun snaps were atrocious. Mitch Morse 4 times just with sloppy snaps that really threw off their rhythm early. The one thing I worry about watching them, the end of runs. Georgia's tying up James Franklin and going for the strip. He's got to secure the ball late in his runs.
Yeah, Jarvis Jones, good point, Quinn. Jarvis Jones has been trying to get in there and dig that ball out. Todd Gurley is back here on this kickoff return. He had a 100-yard return a week ago. Here he is from the 1. Gurley looking for a seam. Todd Gurley spins and is still on his feet as Gurley gets it to the 36-yard line. He is an exciting young player. Of course, the SEC growing by 2 teams that base the footprint, adding Missouri. And earlier today, we saw Texas A&M in a tussle with Florida. So the West grabs A&M. Of course, the West so top-heavy with Bama and Arkansas and LSU, and Mizzou into the East. The northernmost town in the SEC East is Keith Marshall. Marshall drives ahead for a gain of about 3.5. We've been here for a few days now, Matt, and it's been really interesting to see how the community has embraced being in the SEC. You're talking about a $185 million economic impact here in Columbia this year.
Well, you can see they're proud of being part of the SEC. They had their chest stuck out walking around town this weekend.
Hey, Delta had to add flights back and forth to Atlanta just to handle this conference realignment. There's Keith Marshall now on 2nd and 6. Good job waiting for his blocks. And the freshman drives forward after that block from Merritt Hall, the fullback, for a first down for the Bulldogs.
Now that right there, that was old man football.
No doubt.
They're just lining up and they're using the power. Remember we said at the beginning, use your strength, and that's what they do.
Saw that
Dallas
kick out
Lee
by
right there. Nice job by Hall. Just big on the smaller guys.
Pitch again to Marshall. And Marshall out to midfield. He was an early enrollee, got a taste of spring ball. He was actually the higher profile recruit over Todd Gurley, who was such a star in week 1.
Marshall's got a little bit better speed, a little bit more wiggle than does Gurley, but they're both really good young runners.
Aaron Murray's just 2 for 5, 17 yards and an interception. They keep it on the ground again. This just a gain of about 2 yards, so it'll bring up a 3rd down. Tackle came from the senior Will Ebner.
There's a good instinctive player, that Will Ebner, number 32. He was banged up a year ago. Right now, tell you what he does extremely well. You see him right in the middle, number 32. He reads very well, and that's a skill unto itself. He's a very good reader, and he gets to things inside and out, tackle to tackle very well.
3rd and a long 4 for Aaron Murray. 4 receivers split 2 by 2 with Marshall in the backfield. Out of the gun is Murray. A little bit of pressure delayed as he slings it out. It'll depend on the spot that time, as Rontavious Wooten had a dive back for the ball, and they're spotting him short. The coverage again came from E.J. Gaines.
And Gaines is a good player. Wooten tried to beat him with speed up the field, and they're going to go to the quick huddle now. They're going to go, and he may get caught here.
4th down. Can they get it? As Murray's trying to reach out for the mark there, as you see the linesman running in. Quick snap. It'll depend on which one of those linesmen marks the ball. And they'll ask for an official measurement.
Yes, it matters which foot he put it on.
No doubt.
Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. If he went to the left, he didn't get it. If he went to the right, he got it.
So the chain comes from that Missouri side, the far sideline. And they'll stretch out those links and see if Murray got enough. And it is a first down for Georgia. Just the tip of that leather. And Gary Pinkel throws the headset back on, but Mark Richt saying hurry up, and this is the reaction by Pinkel. He thought his defense had done the job. So Gurley comes back in. And first down on the Zoo side of the field. And this ball is complete to Brown, and Marlon Brown darts ahead to the 35-yard line.
Nicely done by this offensive line. Good protection up front. Allows Murray to be able to read that thing. They get a nice deep drop, and they're able to bring Brown back underneath in that zone.
2nd and 2. Gurley shifts over to the right side of Murray here on 2nd and 2. Play action. Murray steps up in the pocket. Ball is in the air and falls incomplete. He was trying to connect with Michael Bennett. It was Matt White who was defending there and deflected the ball up in the air.
And that's a catchable ball. And you saw Aaron Murray. Come on, Mike. He said that's a ball he knows Bennett can make. He likes Bennett. He's got confidence with him.
Big guy.
Usually a sure-handed guy, Tess, but you can see why right here. Yeah, it's high, but that's a very catchable ball.
Georgia's 0 for 4 on 3rd downs tonight. They keep it on the ground. A flag is down as Gurley was able to dart ahead, but we will check on the flag. Georgia quickly went up to the line.
Start. 82 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
A little too quick from Michael Bennett, who was lining up at receiver.
Yeah, not a good series here for Bennett. Drop ball, jumped off sides, negated the first.
let's see what their star quarterback can come up with, as Aaron Murray has yet to play like the Heisman contender he entered the season as. Just 4 for 8 for 28 yards and a pick. 3rd and 7. Gurley wrapped up right away. Will Ebner read it.
Really nicely played by Ebner. They were going what we call a two-man. Too deep, man underneath. Ebner's got to get on that, because if Gurley gets into any kind of space, he's off to the races. Keep in mind, everybody's run off. And then Ebner's got to jump his coverage right away.
Adam Erickson comes into punt. We saw Barber earlier, as you see Marcus Murphy, but Erickson comes in for these shorter punches. He has that end-over-end rotation, more like a kickoff. Tries to get that ball to stop when it bounces. Let's see if he can pull it off here. Instead, it was fair caught inside the 10 by Murphy. The Missouri defense, they needed the stop. They got it, as Will Ebner was tracking and now celebrating. Monday Night Football returns with a primetime doubleheader. Monday Night Countdown is going to start at 5. Then at 7, it's Bengals-Ravens. And then at 10:15, Phillip Rivers and the Chargers against your old team, Matt, the Raiders. So you got Bengals-Ravens at 7, Chargers-Raiders at 10:15. And of course, you think Chargers, you think Mizzou, one of the all-time greats, Kellen Winslow, a legend here in Columbia. I saw you talking to him before the game. There he is,
Kellen
honored here.
Winslow was a great player, not a good player, a great player, deserving Hall of Famer. We had many, many battles, and I asked to see his scar on his chin, which I delightfully delivered to him on a Monday night game.
I don't think that's how he wants to remember Monday Night Football, with a scar you gave him on his chin. Marcus Murphy with a gain of 4 there.
You know, Kellen Winslow in today's football would eat it up. See, right under there.
I see.
Right under there.
Right there. That has Millen written all over it.
He was fun to play against. What a great competitor.
Swing it out the backfield this time, and immediately taken down was Murphy by Herrera. Herrera's been very active early on this season. The sophomore linebacker played a lot as a true freshman a year ago.
Moves well, he's got good instincts, and he's getting better. I mean, like you said, he's just a sophomore. Big fumble recovery earlier in the game.
Mizzou trying to get out of a hole here on 3rd and 9. Look at how limited the offenses have been tonight. Jittery early, and then defense stepping up. J. Moe in motion to the near side. Here's Franklin now. Pressure off the edge, being chased down. Ball comes out. That is a live football bouncing forward. Finally scooped up by a Georgia defender. Yet another turnover here tonight. Georgia's ball. Jarvis Jones, Mr. Active, causing it. And it was Cornelius Washington, the defensive end, tracking it down.
Well, Missouri's offense has not had an answer for Jarvis Jones whatsoever. You see him just coming off the edge. He's been running past him like a turnstile all night long. His arm may have been coming forward. They're going to have to review that. Let's see if his arm motion starts coming forward. Yeah.
Remember, the ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by Georgia and a first down for the Dogs just inside the 28.
See, his elbow motion started going forward when Jarvis Jones hit the ball.
Play is under review.
So they're going to take a look at this. We will step away while they do. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Just moments ago, they reversed the call on the field, saying that Franklin's arm was indeed coming forward, and it is an incomplete pass.
It's the right call. We saw it earlier, and you can see the throwing motion has already started, but that's the small story. The bigger story is they have not found an answer in how to stop Jarvis Jones. They've gone man with him outside a couple times. Justin Britt can't keep pace with him. He runs right past him. He's on the other side. He's done the same thing with Elvis Fisher. Jarvis Jones has been unstoppable here tonight.
So it would have been a fumble recovery at the 27, but they had the indisputable video evidence to reverse that call. Trey Barrow now punting from his end zone. Remember, that's how they started the evening. And Damian Swan settling in just past midfield for the return. And this is not a good punt by Barrow. So Georgia will have prime field position either way. It'll be 1st and 10 Dogs at about the 41. Just a 31-yard punt. We invite you to get your NFL Sunday started off right. It is Sunday NFL Countdown at 10 a.m. on ESPN. Get all the latest news and updates right up until kickoff. Then at 11 on ESPN2, it is Fantasy Football Now. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM. Fantasy Football Now presented by Papa John's. This is Gurley, and Todd Gurley just trying to get that crease, and he was just bumped down short of the 35.
Just a shoelace away, and Ebner tripped him up. But they are just going to keep on pounding. That's what old man football is, and he's going to keep showing what it is.
Old man football with a little pace to it. That is off the hands of the fullback, Merritt Hall.
Hall had Wilson beaten coverage by a long shot. That was perfectly set up. Instead, you have 3rd and 4.
So Murray misses with Hall there. And there's big Sheldon Richardson, the guy who termed it old man football. Guy who said if we execute, nobody in this SEC can touch us, period.
We haven't seen much execution here tonight. It's time for him to be a factor.
This has been a tense, high-pressure game, and we've seen the mistakes because of it. And now this place gets loud on 3rd and 4. A little pressure. He's going downfield. It was thrown too high that time as he was once again looking for Michael Bennett. And Bennett was covered by Braylon Webb.
They're still giving you that amoeba look up front, and they're making you, what that does is it makes you hesitate a tad as an offensive lineman. They know who they have to get, and that's Richardson. He does a nice job of getting through. Madison on the outside and Richardson at his feet.
The freshman Marshall Morgan to attempt a 52-yard field goal. He did hit from 50 yards into the wind in warm-ups. And he has plenty of way. How about that from the freshman? 52-yard field goal to tie the game. Georgia defense stop Mizzou. A bad punt and then a big boot from the Frosh. I got a beautiful day with my face to the sun. Big crowd here at Faurot Field at Memorial Stadium. Hardest ticket to get, most anticipated game, they say, in the history of Missouri football. They've had big ones. They've toppled #1 in the past year just a couple years ago, but this is the moment they've been waiting on. Marshall Morgan, after just ripping that 52-yard field goal, now kicking off to T.J. Moe. Moe from inside the goal line. T.J. Moe is going to come short of what would have been a touchback at the 25-yard line. Jarvis Jones, the All-America linebacker, heading back out there. He has been all over the field tonight.
Missouri has not had an answer for linebacker Jarvis Jones. They tried to run at him. He just takes your best offensive lineman and gets rid of him. They try to option off him. He plays it perfectly. A game of patience. He handles it. And then, if you have to try to, he's been running past these tackles like they're standing still. Jarvis Jones tonight has been devastating for this Georgia defense.
Remember, he was originally a USC Trojan. Got hurt there, had a neck injury. They wouldn't clear him to play, decided to go back home, transferred to Georgia. See a diamond bunch formation now at the top of your screen with T.J. Moe set back in that diamond formation. There it is. Let's see what they do with it here. Instead, it's Franklin on the design quarterback run, and he is stopped at the line of scrimmage by who else but Jarvis Jones. Avery Jones also getting in there. That is Elvis Fisher, who is grabbing at his right knee. And Fisher missed last year with a knee injury. Started every game at left tackle for a couple years here. Was given a 6-year of eligibility. He is their best offensive lineman, a team captain, former all Big 12 player who they really have to rely on, Matt.
And he's probably their best lineman. And that doesn't look good when he starts looking at his knees. He's had some knee problems.
You see the concern on the face of Gary Pinkel.
They have concern for the player, obviously, and then from a macro view, they don't have a lot of depth. That's the one thing that could really hurt them.
You know, and the guy lining up right next to him is a true freshman. The left guard is Evan Bain. And here is the injury to Elvis Fisher, all right at the end there, as everybody came in on the pile, and you see what happened to him there. You know, all week long, Matt, we've been preparing for this game. We came here to town. The hype was palpable. And then you come here to this setting today, get to the stadium early. Everybody's been waiting on the SEC to arrive in town. And then you get a game that was hyped up as having offensive stars. Right. Everybody's jittery. There was so much pressure put on this game all week. This is what we ended up with in the first half.
Well, what I really have liked is what Georgia has done to calm themselves down. They've gone back to what they are. Just go ahead, pound the football, Gurley up inside, Marshall up inside, let that offensive line start work on them. A little bit of play action. They haven't quite found their rhythm, but they know where they have to get to.
As they help Elvis Fisher off the field. Missouri just 28 plays and 34 yards. Supposed to be a wide open offense. Spreads you, speeds you up, shows pace. But it's been stalling at times. And key turnovers not capitalized on.
Yeah, and lost in that is Georgia's been playing good defense. I mean, Jarvis Jones we've been talking about, but you know, those guys inside, they haven't been giving up anything.
Brad McNulty is the new center as they shift positions with Mitch Morse. And here on 2nd and 10, that's incomplete. So trying to patchwork the offensive line now with their best lineman, the left tackle Elvis Fisher, out of the game. And there is McNulty, a redshirt freshman. So they have a redshirt freshman at center now, lined up next to a true freshman, Evan Bain, number 77 at left guard. 3rd and 10. They go empty. Franklin with time, and that was far to the outside of John McGaffey.
It hasn't been close with Franklin in the pass game. And part of it has been the pass rush, and then the other part has been the coverage, because there has been very little room. There's been very little room for the receivers down the field. This has been a great job by the secondary of covering up receivers.
That's the 4th 3 and out by Mizzou. There's Malcolm Mitchell, two-way star who was injured a week ago, was on crutches for the opener for Georgia. I'm so happy to have him back. Hold things down in that defensive backfield.
Big speed.
And this takes a Mizzou bounce and then is fielded. Dangerous, and the ball comes loose, and Missouri jumps on it. What a dangerous play by Malcolm Mitchell, and it cost him. Mizzou's offense will be back on the field.
Sometimes you get the bull, sometimes the bull gets you.
They just got bored.
So Malcolm Mitchell, like you called it right in the middle of it, Tess. He took a chance right here. If you take that chance, you better protect that ball. He went right into the middle of it, just a whole slew of Tigers.
So James Franklin back out there with a first down at the 32-yard line, trying to get off that left edge, and he does get to the corner, and then is forced out of bounds by Cornelius Washington.
James Franklin has been Missouri's whole offense, but he's not been able to throw the football at all. Part of that has been pressure. Jarvis Jones has been seeing to that. And then the other part has been their secondary.
Empty again here on 2nd and 2. Looking over his options. And that is incomplete. And there's no flag that time as Brandon Smith had coverage on Marcus Lucas.
Yeah, this time, though, Marcus Lucas ran a good route. That one's on Franklin. He rolled to that thing. Brandon Smith's on. We're going to watch it. It's going to be a little comeback. He's right here. Throw the ball. He waited on it, and that allowed Smith to be able to come back. And there may have been some contact there.
Hear the reaction by those here.
Franklin's got to get rid of the ball quicker to him. That was an open play.
3rd and 2 now. Big bodies on that side, and they were quick to wrap them up. There was nowhere to go from James Franklin. Cornelius Washington was the first to get to him.
So here's what's happened right now. Up front, the Georgia Bulldogs have been able to handle, with 4 down people, they've been able to handle any kind of run game, and they've been generating pass rush pressure with just 4. That enables you to be able to cover in the back, and they don't have to do any kind of blitzing. They're in their game plan right now. They're doing it well.
Andrew Baggett, made from 38 earlier, redshirt freshman. Keep in mind, T.J. Moe is the holder. This is from 43. And that never had a chance. So after fumbling on the punt return, the Georgia defense holds. 3-3 game as we check in with Wendy Nix. Wendy?
Joe, thank you. Coming up on the Outback Steakhouse halftime report, the Gators play the role of spoiler in the Aggies' SEC debut. Matt Barkley, a big day for his USC Trojans, but a tough break for the Wisconsin Badgers. I'm joined by Todd McShay and Robert Smith at the half. We'll see you then.
It's one of those strange days in college football, as Oregon State heard a few voices calling for that upset today. Wisconsin goes down to a Pac-12 team that has struggled in recent years. Keith Marshall now, and Marshall unable to keep his footing. Just a gain of 2. See the ball control.
Not much offense here. This has been just all defense through this first half.
Now, we've had some sloppy play. Early on, it was definitely the nerves of this pressure-packed atmosphere here. And then sloppy play and turnovers, and the defense coming up big when they needed to. And once again, the defense comes up big. And as you saw, Xavier Gooden coming up and wrapping up Keith Marshall. And the bad news for Missouri, as you see their left tackle Elvis Fisher being carted off. The best offensive lineman. Dr. Pat Smith will tend to him. Georgia is 0 for 6 on 3rd down, now facing a 3rd and 8. Aaron Murray only has 23 yards passing. Play clock now under 5. Here's pressure on Murray. Play clock got to him.
Tess, here's the difference between the Georgia defense and the Missouri defense. Defensive coordinator Dave Steckel, he's rolling the dice.
Prior to the snap, delayed game, number 11 offense, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
There is Steckel. Veteran D-Cord fired up.
He's saying, hold your water right there. But you can see right here, they're bringing numbers. They're bringing numbers, which means you're taking chances behind it. And he's putting pressure on his secondary to hold up.
Now 3rd and 13. Ken Malcolm in the backfield with Aaron Murray. Let's see if they bring it again. They only bring 3 this time. And Murray completes it, but it is going to be short of the line to make as Michael Bennett needed a little extra. Is going to come up about 3.5 yards short. So both teams now 1 for 16 on 3rd down conversion attempts.
So Tess, you mentioned they brought 3. That means they dropped 8. That means you have, when you're throwing underneath, you got to get through a bunch of tacklers, and they weren't able to. Sets up this 4th down.
How about that? A combined 1 for 16 on 3rd down so far in this game. We're going to step away. Leave 4th down when we return. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Here at Faurot Field at Memorial Stadium. The SEC has a new home here in Columbia, Missouri. Talk so much about SEC defense. I guess Missouri got the invite the right way. Been playing good defense. Georgia's 0 for 7 on 3rd down conversion attempts. Colin Barber on to punt. And Marcus Murphy back at the 25, set to return. And a couple touchdown returns, punt returns a week ago. Here's Murphy. And Murphy is wrapped up just beyond the 37-yard line. So much made of the suspensions for Georgia, but more should be made about who is here tonight, like Jarvis Jones playing outrageously well. Look at where he lines up now.
Yeah, and you have to count for him every time. He's lined up on either side, sometimes on the inside, not often, but wherever he is, he has been a factor all over the field here tonight. He's beat you with strength, he's beat you with patience, and he's beat you with speed.
Last year he was #1 in the SEC in tackles for loss at 19.5. He's primed for another big stat year. Franklin now. And Franklin gets it to McGaffey, and McGaffey is out to midfield, tackled by Robinson.
Somebody's down for Georgia. That's big. Kwame Gathers, number 99.
6'6", 355-pounder, fine nose tackle. Of course, he comes from the Gathers family with so much success in the college and NFL level. One of their better defensive linemen. John Jenkins, who starts in front of him, is one of the best prospects going for next year's NFL draft, the other nose tackle.
What did you say he was? 355?
You think he's a little north of that?
He's a biscuit away from about 380.
Let's see what happened to him here. Watch big number 99.
I see James Franklin's asking if he's okay. He's like, hey, sorry about that. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, plays downfield.
You're on your own.
On. And you see the medical staff tending to Kwame Gathers.
You mentioned the bloodline. That's a very talented bloodline.
Robert and his uncle Jumpy.
And my guy Jumpy from Wichita State, one of the strongest, most powerful defensive linemen in National Football League history.
And Kwame's older brother Robert, of course, had a great career. As he's up and walking, gets a nice reception. I invite you to stay with the full day of college football right through tonight on ESPN. Kickoff at 10:30 for Illinois and Arizona State coming up later tonight. Franklin now. There's TJ Moe on the slant, and TJ Moe with a 10-yard reception.
This is the pace they were talking about.
Going to actually mark him just short of that line to make, but not here. How about this? Marcus Lucas, touchdown, Mizzou.
And just like that, Tess, just like that, there's a score on the board.
41-yard touchdown reception by Marcus Lucas. Baggett adds the extra point. Minute and a half before halftime, and Missouri is up a touchdown. The celebration on the sideline here at the Zoo. Missouri's in the club, but they got to prove it now. First night in the SEC. And Marcus Lucas, the receiver, just crashed through the front door. 41-yard touchdown reception. He ran his way in through that Georgia defense. And it's a short kickoff now, fielded at the 21-yard line. That was the up back, Merritt Hall.
Let's take a look at this touchdown test. There's a couple things that goes on. First of all, you're going to see good protection here, but here's your key right outside. Brandon Smith, number 1, the corner. He's on the line of scrimmage. He has got to fight. He's got to move his feet. Now he made mistake number 2 right there. He looked back to the ball. By that time, Lucas was in full speed. Norman can't get there. 6 quick.
Norman tried to reach out. Remember, Bakari Rambo, the All-American safety, suspended for this game. Norman trying to step up, and Lucas stepped right through him. Now Aaron Murray trying to respond before the half, and he gets it complete to Michael Bennett.
Murray's pass complete to number 82, Michael Bennett. Tackled by 32, Will Ebner. First down at 10.
What Sheldon Richardson said. He's dogging Georgia in the media earlier this week. Not trying to prove themselves. Murray now. And this is caught by Marlon Brown, who came back to the ball in quick order. And just like that, Georgia all of a sudden is marching down the field in scoring position.
On the feet of Murray by buying time and getting out. And then Marlon Brown coming back to the ball. Well executed.
24-yard reception. We had sloppy play, turnovers, and defense for much of the first half. And now look at this pace. Pressure, and that is caught on a quick screen. Here goes TK Tavares King inside the 5. His first reception of the night.
Well, when you blitz the middle and you go zero coverage, there was nobody in the middle of the field. They picked it up inside. He was able to get the ball off. Look at the middle field. Nothing there. And then he's inside. Nice pick on the outside, and King's to the middle.
34-yard reception. Where did this come from? All of a sudden, the Georgia offense finds itself. Murray to the end zone, and that is incomplete. And no flag on the play, as TK was the intended target, but King was covered by Kip Edwards.
Kip Edwards, good coverage. That was really good coverage.
Tavares King, senior receiver, who was so red hot in the bowl game a year ago, and then last week against Buffalo. Now a 2nd and goal. 35 seconds remain in the half. Georgia trying to answer and respond after Missouri broke through. Murray. And that is caught for the touchdown by Marlon Brown. Great response by the Dogs.
And a nice accurate throw by Aaron Murray. He had a nice matchup. He knew that he had it on the safety. And Marlon Brown, he's going to take that every time. Now what? He sold the back shoulder. That's just, you can't, unless you're up on him and you're given that much ground. That's going to be a 6 points every time.
And Marshall Morgan misses the extra point. The true freshman kicker, who made from 52 yards earlier tonight, misses the extra point that would have tied this game before the half.
He was too close. If they'd have moved him back about 30 yards, he'd had a shot.
Big spot for the true freshman. Take a look at the hold.
Hold's good.
Everything looked clean there. Remember in his debut last week, they were scoring with ease in that second half against Buffalo, and he was a perfect 6 for 6 on PATs. But will that be one he regrets as we go deeper into this pressure-packed night here in Columbia?
Well, we went 28 minutes. And then in 2 minutes, we had fireworks.
Last 2 minutes, the game that most everybody expected here at Mizzou tonight. Fast pace, vertical plays downfield, instant offense. It just arrived a little late. Great setting here tonight. Such a highly anticipated evening. Jamie Lingley now on for kickoffs for Georgia, and he's going to squib it. And this is fielded at the 15-yard line. And And that was John McGaffey. There'll be 24 seconds remaining in the half. Only the second time they've ever played. The only other time was the Orange Bowl back in 1960 when Georgia was able to defeat Missouri 14-0, and the quarterback that day was none other than Fran Tarkenton. Fran the man. 2 touchdown passes. There is the original program and the 1960 Missouri Tigers team photo when they went down there to Miami. And now they're going to get really comfortable with each other in the coming years. And here is Franklin able to connect that time as he found Bud Sasser. 19 seconds remaining. It's a backfield for Franklin. As he works the sideline and able to get it to Marcus Lucas, who gives an extra effort. 12 seconds remain. 1 timeout for Missouri.
Because you got 1 timeout here. You can use the middle of the field right now and take that timeout to take a shot in the middle of the field to be able to get in field goal position.
Based on the leg we saw to Baggett earlier tonight, they would need to get to about the 30-yard line to be within his range. There's Franklin again. Plenty of time. Clock under 10, and that is incomplete. Looking for Lucas again. Now that leaves 6 seconds on the clock.
And that's 1 play. So now you got to take your shot down the field.
How funny it is to see the change in this game. 28 minutes of jitters and turnovers and defense, and then 2 minutes of up and down the field offense.
Now they're going to need some time to be able to cover this green, and that means Jarvis Jones becomes a factor. Because he has been limiting the time to be able to launch that thing.
So a timeout by Georgia. The Georgia defense missing 4 starters. Leading the bunch, Bakari Rambo, the All-American safety, but they have stepped up, led by Jarvis Jones, their All-American. A reminder that coverage of Major League Baseball continues on baseball's biggest stage. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell, 8 Eastern on ESPN. It'll be Dodgers and the Giants. Sunday Night Baseball. They got the M-I-Z-Z-O-U chant in full force. The student section all in goal tonight with the M-I-Z, and the alums responding with the Z-O-U. Franklin now. Quickly and saving time on the clock is T.J. Moe. The ball is at the 41-yard line with 2 seconds remaining. Now, Dorial Green Beckham trots out into the field. All 6'6", 220 pounds of him, if there ever was a downfield target for a place like this. And Missouri will talk things over. Let's take a look at our FaceTime profile, brought to you by Edward Jones. Dorial Green Beckham. Everybody wanted him. The #1 recruit in all of college football a year ago. And on signing day, the coaches told us how anxious they were. They truly didn't know until that moment when he put that Missouri hat on his head. Happened live on ESPNU. This is a look at how good the kid was back in high school in Springfield, Missouri. These defensive backs never had a chance, Matt. That's just not fair.
That's just might be atrocious tackling. There's one. There's another miss.
Hillcrest High School in Springfield. In high school, DGB went for 75 receiving touchdowns, and you see most of them, all they need to do was hit him with a screen and let him do the rest. Let's see if he's the target here with 2 seconds remaining. Franklin. He's going to launch it to the near side. And Lucas had a shot at it. Marcus Lucas went up, but just couldn't connect. What a strange half of football, my friend.
I would expect we're going to get their best here in the second half. They warmed up right at the end. Marcus Lucas, he is going to be sick.
Let's go down to the field to Quinn.
Coach, mistakes and miscues really defined that first half. How do you better find offensive rhythm in the second half?
Well, you know, that's what we're struggling to do. They're playing great defense, and actually both defenses are playing pretty good. We're going to try to you know, just kind of look at everything we're doing, and you know, we have an injury there, so we got to execute better, especially try to run the ball better.
Given that injury, Jarvis Jones, 29 and white, their defensive end, is tearing it up. What do you have to do to better account for him?
Well, he's hard to stop, so we're going to look at it and look at our plan and see what we can do to slow him down a little bit.
Any idea?
Huh?
Any idea?
We'll talk about it in there.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Injury he refers to is the left tackle Elvis Fisher, who's out of the game, was carted off. High pressure atmosphere. Opening night in the SEC for Mizzou. Lucas scored first. Georgia responded. Let's join Wendy Nix, Todd McShade, Robert Smith back in the studio for the Outback Steakhouse halftime report.
I'm telling you, Columbia can be a crazy place to play.
Tonight the Zoo will be rocking.
They will be trying to prove that they belong in the SEC.
First game ever in the Southeastern Conference, so it's big.
It's always a big-time game when you play in this football conference.
To say it's big is probably an understatement.
And that's just another Saturday in the SEC.
Feels like something more than just another Saturday in the SEC as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Miller Lite. Here in Columbia, Missouri, you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Something funny in the air tonight. A special night for Missouri. Pressure-packed, hyped up. Aaron Murray tried to bring Georgia back, but a missed extra point. The difference in the score, 10-9, as James Franklin and the Missouri offense came alive right at the end of the half. All week long, Matt Millen, we heard about old man football. We got some old man football in the form of feisty defense there.
And that's what it is. It's just all big defense. And for Georgia, it was personified by Jarvis Jones. And when you looked at this Missouri team, what it was personified by was just good team defense.
Georgia set to return to open up this second half. And it goes to Merritt Paul, the fullback, who also plays special teams. So you remember the quote from Sheldon Richardson. Little taste of old man football here.
Yeah, it was just good defense. It was good defense for both Missouri and Georgia. They put the clamps on things, but then inside of 2 minutes, when they took some chances, little pick action on the outside, they get to the inside, and it's a big play for Tavares King, which led to 6 quick. Right here on the outside, down to Brown, and then it's back to old man football. Let's see what they do.
They go play action to start the second half, and he is able to get it complete out to the 31-yard line that time, as he's able to find Marlon Brown, who had that touchdown to try to close the gap into Mizzou's lead. Second and 6 as Todd Gurley is the lone back. A freshman who lit it up a week ago, had 100 yards on just 8 carries in the season opener. See the movement there.
Huh.
False start. 71 offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Let's check in with Quinn.
Joe, I spoke to Georgia coach Mark Richt coming out of the locker room, who was pretty upbeat considering the amount of mistakes that Georgia has made today. He said 2 things really on his mind significantly. Ball security. 3 fumbles aren't going to cut it. The other thing he said, offensively, if we give Aaron Murray some time, we see some things.
Second and 11, here's Gurley. And unable to stiff arm his way for much. Xavier Gooden with the tackle.
Well, he's going to have his opportunity here on this 3rd down. And if this offensive line can give him some protection, and they've not been good on third down at all here tonight. Not at all.
7.
Part of that has been the play of the secondary, and part of it has been defensive coordinator Dave Steckel. He's been mixing coverages and mixing blitzes in there.
Mizzou getting loud here. This Missouri defense has done their job on third downs all night long.
See him walking around in that amoeba look. They've been doing that all night long.
Pressure, and they get to him again. Brad Madison with the sack.
Madison went right past number 71, John Theus, just a freshman. Just a freshman, but just watch him up top. Here's Madison, here's Theus. It's kind of what we saw earlier in the game. Just can't get out there. It's just speed by Madison, and he's able to get him. You heard Mark Richt, you heard what Quinn said. If you can give him some time, there was no time at all.
Second sack by Madison tonight. 0 for on third down conversions for the Dogs. Colin Barber back out to punt again. Marcus Murphy back deep. Such a great week last week with the 2 returns for touchdowns, and boy, they were right on top of him that time. That was Blake Salyers who was penalized earlier, and a flag comes out this time.
That's the right call. You've got to give him at least a yard in front. He was there when the ball got there. Now, as a guy running down on a punt, I got to tell you, it's really tough to judge when that thing's coming.
Watch Sailors come into your frame here.
During the kick, illegal block in the back, number 28 on the receiving team. That's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
So instead, they mark it back against Missouri, as Sailors was saying, hey, I thought I timed that pretty well.
You did.
And the penalty goes elsewhere. Watch the left side of your screen here. And that's where they come up with the flag on Ernest Payton. Franklin now on first down, and trying to jump the route that time was Malcolm Mitchell, as that sailed out of bounds and complete.
I think Franklin's just a little bit off in his timing, because he's got to be hitting his receivers when they're coming out of their breaks, and he has waited for them to get open, and you can't do that. Anticipation is a huge part of any thrower. Right now his anticipation is just a tad off.
There's Lawrence on 2nd and 10, and he's able to gain just about a yard and a half, tackled by Jenkins and Washington.
Now we get back to the nemesis down for both these offenses all night long.
Yeah, not as if Mizzou's much better. They're just 1 for 10 on third downs.
Five wides out, that means you have only 5 guys in. Jarvis Jones should get a one-on-one.
Franklin right down the middle of the field, and he's able to find Washington. LaDamian Washington, touchdown Mizzou. 69-yard touchdown catch. It was his first catch of the game.
Devin Bowman, the corner, did not play this well at all. And for some reason, which I don't understand, they haven't blocked Jarvis Jones all night. They decided not to rush him. They dropped him back and brought 3. Devin Bowman got beat from the start, and it's 6 quick.
With the extra point, keep in mind, 8-point margin because of the other missed extra point. Franklin, nice and easy. Washington, fast as could be. And Gary Pinkel enjoying the look of it all.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Heard all week long about that Missouri offense now facing a Georgia defense. Keep in mind the Georgia defense down 4 starters with some suspensions. This is how they scored.
Watch Devin Bowman outside. For all you young corners out in high school, when you're in man-to-man, your eyes always stay on the man. Right here, he misses his jam. Watch his head. Turned back inside. As soon as his eyes went back here, the receiver went here. That's 6 quick and a huge mistake by Devin Bowman. You'd have to get
69-yard touchdown pass. That is a career long by James Franklin. And the freshman will take a knee with a little encouragement, Todd Gurley. (17-9) in their SEC debut. Trending on Twitter across the country right now is Mizzou. And they'd like to continue to be trending in the SEC East. Of course, it's been the 2 big plays that have put them in position to get the country's attention. The 41-yarder to Lucas before the half, and then the 69-yarder to Damian Washington. Last time Missouri struck fast, Georgia responded immediately. Murray, and he completes that pass to Michael Bennett. Let's check in with Wendy Nix. Thanks, Wendy. Busy sports weekend. There was some movement pre-snap there.
False start. 71 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Remember, John Theus is a true freshman. Now, he was a 5-star recruit, but obviously this is a much different spot than he's ever seen before. On the road, prime time, Saturday night in the SEC pressure cooker. 2nd and 9. This is Keith Marshall, and a good effort by Marshall.
Theus is seeing looks that he hasn't seen before. Defensive coordinator Dave Steckel has been moving his guys, giving them different looks and moving late, forcing you to make decisions late.
3rd and 2. And a first down as Michael Bennett. And finally, a 3rd down conversion for Georgia. They were 0 for 8 before that pass completion by Aaron Murray. Dave Steckel was talking to us about how the SEC defenses are built differently, but he liked his. And that ball is off the hands of Marlon Brown.
And he had it wide open, Tess. It was right there. Nice read by Murray. He saw the blitz coming. They went man behind it, and Brown had inside position. Could have been a big play.
Should have been a big play. And Brown had touchdown just before the half. 2nd and 10. Murray out of the gun. A little bit of pressure off the near side. They pick it up. He goes downfield, and going up for it was Michael Bennett. Went up and over Braylon Webb. 18-yard reception by the sophomore Bennett.
Nicely done by Bennett of staying with this thing. Goes up and over. Braylon Webb, number 9, is all over that. He used the safety. They brought a blitz down inside, put the safety on Bennett, and Bennett came through with a big catch.
6 catches for 58 yards on the night for Bennett, who gets a blow. First down now at the Mizzou 40. This is Marshall, and Keith Marshall is taken down right away by Will Ebner.
Missouri's defense, they are moving late. That happens, that creates some confusion for the offensive line because you're locked into your assignment, and then they move late, so you have to adjust. But sometimes the defense doesn't adjust. It creates big holes. Ebner's checking after Murray's checked.
Chess match continues. 2nd and 9. Murray. And that was well off target, and a flag is down. They may have gotten to Murray a little late. You see Murray saying this is going against Mizzou.
Number 34 defense. automatic first down.
And Sheldon Richardson.
I don't know about that call, man. That's a tough one. Sheldon Richardson was coming on inside and getting pushed from the backside. Got pushed right in by Burnett, number 68. But the referee, you saw him right there. His job is to protect that quarterback.
And Sheldon's going to have a little chat over on the sideline. So a first down at the 24 as Ken Malone comes into the game as Georgia's running back. Tavares King split to the near side. And they give it to Malcolm. And Malcolm with a gain of about 3, tackled by Ebner. And Malcolm was injured last week, hurt his left hand, practicing this week with a removable cast. Obviously, they're so talented behind Malcolm with both Gurley and Marshall, the true freshmen. 2nd and 7. Missouri shows a different defensive front. They bring some pressure. Murray lofts it up. And that ball is incomplete as Wooten had a play on it, but couldn't come down with it, and it was Gaines on the coverage. The pressure came from Andrew Wilson.
They brought the blitz, which put Gaines man-to-man outside. Murray knew it and took the shot. Gaines is not able to get his head turned around, or he had a chance. You see Wilson putting his face right in his chest. Nicely played on the front end. Now watch Gaines. Gaines, he look, I look. Turned a little bit late. That should have been a reception.
And a slight delay in the action here as the training staff was out to tend to Xavier Gooden, a linebacker for Mizzou. He's one of their most athletic defensive players.
It's a good player test.
He is.
Xavier Gooden. And he's got great speed. He can redirect. He has good cover. They rely on him for a lot of underneath stuff.
So they will be without Gooden here on this 3rd and 7. It's been loud all night here in Columbia, especially in spots like this. So that defensive front encouraging the home crowd. 3rd and 7. They hand it off. And Malcolm spins his way for a Georgia first down. What an effort by Ken Malcolm.
That's all Malcolm. The blitz was picked up. They did bring pressure. And they picked it up by the offensive line. And then Malcolm with just good vision. And then this is just picking your hole. Look at this. Really well done. Good vision, good balance, and a big first down.
Got 10 yards on 3rd and 7. Now all of a sudden they are converting those 3rd downs. So first down at the 12-yard line. Malcolm again. And this time just about 1.5 yards. As Donovan Bonner came around along with Jimmy Burge. Mark Richt calmly looks on, watching his offense try to respond after Mizzou had the 69-yard touchdown pass. Sheldon Richardson back out there. Had the roughing the passer earlier on this drive. It's now 10 plays deep. And Georgia knocking on the door. Stacking the tight end and fullback in front of Keith Marshall. They swing it to him on that side and unable to get the block as Conrati Walker came in and cut him down.
Another guy's hurt.
It's Michael Sam, the defensive end for Mizzou, face down in the field turf. We're going to take a break. You're watching the SEC on ESPN.
ESPN College Football Primetime, brought to you by Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy, and Chick-fil-A. We didn't invent the chicken, just the chicken sandwich.
last night. The Missouri Bar. Trust me, could feel it all week long, the SEC's arrival here in Columbia. 3rd and 5 for the Dogs. Murray over the middle, complete, and a touchdown to Varus King. So they pull within 2.
And they'll go for 2.
Remember a missed extra point earlier.
Watch King on the outside. It's just a simple, he's just coming back underneath on a slant. The middle, it was wide open for the middle. He could have run that thing actually also, but Murray, nice on the money throw.
So going for 2 halfway through the 3rd quarter to try to tie this game. Keith Marshall, the freshman in the backfield with Murray. Sprinting to the far side. Murray looking over his options and finding it for the 2-point conversion that time as Michael Bennett able to haul it in, and we've got a tie ball game here at the Zoo. The senior, Tavares King, closes that gap. And then Michael Bennett tying it up. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Glad you're with us here, the SEC on ESPN, all tied up, 17-17. Missouri had a few defenders injured on those last couple of plays. Let's check in with Quint.
Yeah, war of attrition starting to hit hard on this Missouri sideline. Xavier Gooden behind me right now, icing his right hamstring. It doesn't look good for his return. Michael Sam was also carted off to the sideline. He'll be back, though. He got popped in the nose, had a pretty vicious bloody nose. They put some cotton up his nostrils, and he'll be back. And bad news for Missouri's offense. Left tackle Elvis Fisher done for the day with an MCL.
Thanks, Quint. They could have used Gooden and Sam at the end of that drive by Georgia. 12-play drive by Georgia, capped by the 7-yard touchdown reception by Tavares King. That's a live ball there. Scooped up that time by McGaffey. Check in with Wendy Nix in the studio. Wendy?
Joe, thank you. We have a check on Arkansas and Louisiana Monroe, and unfortunately a scary moment here, a tough hit. Cornerback Tevin Mitchell collides with his teammate helmet to helmet. Alonzo Highsmith is who he hits, and unfortunately has been carried or carted off the field and left via ambulance. We will continue to follow this and have any updates as they become available.
Scary moment there. We're all tied up here halfway through the 3rd. James Franklin trying to go off the right side of the line, taken down by Jarvis Jones. They'll make for a 2nd and 5 as Missouri tries to pick up the pace, going empty backfield here. Franklin. And that ball goes to the 2nd level, where they're saying it is complete to Marcus Lucas. Had to go down low to get it, so they moved the chains.
Ball was thrown a little bit behind, nicely caught by Lucas, working back across his body.
Jimmy Hunt on the fly sweep, and Jimmy Hunt has stood up that time. At the 45-yard line, that was Connor Norman, who's been filling in for the All-American suspended safety Bakari Rambo. And once again, Missouri, fast tempo, quick to snap it, only a 3-man rush, and they get it complete to John McGaffey. And they hurry up again.
Another 1st down, and all of a sudden Jarvis Jones is nowhere to be found. The quick pace is kind of taking that away. His defensive coordinator Todd Grantham making the calls.
1st down, Georgia tried to quickly substitute. And just taking what's in front of them this time, it's Bud Sasser. So now James Franklin is finding a rhythm here.
I'm going to tell you, ever since Elvis Fisher went down with that MCL, But they've moved out the tackle, the center out to tackle, and he's been playing extremely well.
Flag is down, so we do get a pause in this torrid pace.
False start. 65 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Talking about him right there.
On cue.
That's Mitch Morse, who had been playing center, had a couple bad snaps early. Then they moved him out to right tackle, and Jarvis Jones has been on him. Morse has been handling him pretty well.
Morse played guard last year, started working at center, had a few troubles. In fact, earlier tonight, when the game started, had that high snap and then the injury to their best offensive lineman, Elvis Fisher. So they've been patchworking the offense as Brad McNulty has come in to play center. And here it's complete, this time to Washington, who had the big play to start this second half. As it is another first down for Mizzou. A one-shoot center. Look at that. That's Brad McNulty. He's playing with only one shoe. They're going so fast, guys are losing their shoes, and they're just playing in socks. Here's Cornelius Washington now, who is slow to get up. And that appears to be a cramp as they work on that left leg. So how about that is Brad McNulty quickly, he goes into the pit crew. How quickly can they change that wheel? So McNulty races off, laces him up. Washington being tended to with the cramp. You're watching the SEC on ESPN.
Man, these Sonic flat mounts are really bringing me.
Look at the right hand of the offensive lineman, Brad McNulty, throwing his cleat off to the sideline and saying, I'm good, let's keep this hurry up. I'm playing a sock.
Which he was about to.
But then Cornelius Washington cramped up and slowed down the pace.
The crowd wasn't
of that Missouri offense.
Very happy about it.
We know we've seen that. There was a controversy in recent years in the Pac-12 of how to slow down that fast tempo. First down with Kendall Lawrence in the backfield with Franklin. Under 5.5 minutes, tie game here. And this is McGaffey, and he spins his way to the 20-yard line.
Good patience by Franklin. Had a feel on the backside of pressure, rolled to his right and found McGaffey.
2nd and 5, quick to snap again. Kendall Lawrence out of the backfield. And he could not get past that first wave of defenders that included Jordan Jenkins and Christian Robinson.
And of course it sets them up in that 3rd down, which they've not been very good at here tonight.
It's been a much more offensively entertaining 3rd quarter, but the first half was filled with jitters and teams unable to convert 3rd downs. 3rd and 6 now. That's Lawrence in motion. That is short of the line to make, and then TJ Moe's second effort, but a flag is down. We will check on the flag. As it was a good effort by Moe after catching the ball.
A late flag in the play. See TJ Moe, he's just going to work back to the inside. As Swanee's working against number 5. Moe is like Bennett in these offenses. Bennett.
Pass interference, defense, penalties decline. The result of the play is a first down.
Bennett is a guy that Murray likes to go to in clutch situations, and Moe is the guy that Franklin likes to go to in clutch situations.
Very reliable receiver. This is the guy, by the way, you talk about welcome to the SEC. He stole the show at SEC Media Days with quotes that had everybody rolling. Tie game for now. And Gary Pinkel running in there at the last second. Try to get the officials' attention and use their first timeout of this second half. It's been a wild day of college football. Looks like we're headed towards what could be an interesting finish. And then later tonight on ESPN at 10:30, two new head coaches. Todd Graham at Arizona State. Of course, he came over from Pitt. Tim Beckman with the Illini now. Illinois and Arizona State coming up on ESPN. Earlier tonight, Matt, you put forth the game plan. What has to be accounted for? What can be attacked? How's it played out?
Well, they talked about making pace and advantage. You can see the 53 plays, but they have not been able to get that, except for the 2 times that they scored. They got on pace and they were fine. They needed to be able to get to the edge because they weren't going to have success inside. They haven't been able to do anything inside or outside. And Franklin, you said he was a dual threat and had those capabilities. He's picked it up here in the passing game. Still hasn't been much of a factor in the run game.
To your point of him picking it up, James Franklin has completed his last 8 passes. On this drive alone, he's 7 for 7 for 48 yards. And that's the incompletion. McGaffey breaks that streak. LSU winners tonight. For those of you who are coming over, we welcome you to Columbia, Missouri. Storyline all week long has been the SEC debut of Mizzou. How would they handle the pressure? And it has been a pressure-packed night throughout. Both teams making mistakes and jitters early before settling into what's been an entertaining second half so far. Tied up here in Columbia. Second and 10, Franklin. And he is wrestled down after a gain of about 2.5 by the big John Jenkins.
We haven't spoken much about Big John Jenkins, but there's a lot to like about him. He's a big man, 350 pounds, but he has really good movement. And he's powerful at the point of attack. That's a good-looking rascal there.
Yeah, Todd Shea says he's the #1 defensive tackle for next year's NFL draft. See if he can get a push right up the middle here on 3rd and 8. And now it's Mark Richt who wants to talk things over. It was a 10-9 game at the half. There was a missed extra point by Georgia. Then in the third, Missouri came out and struck first as Franklin found LaDainian Washington, Matt.
Big just got to the inside. There was nobody down the middle of the field. They made a mistake outside in the corner, and they paid for it.
And then Aaron Murray responded, bringing the dogs down the field, and Tavares King scored that touchdown. They went for 2 to make up for the missed extra point. And Michael Bennett was able to haul in that conversion. And that sets the stage for what should be a very interesting finish here. 3rd and 8 for Missouri with the ball on the 13-yard line. All that talk of do they belong? Yeah, they're in the club of the SEC, but now they have to prove themselves. Well, a moment to prove themselves right here. James Franklin been coming on stronger. 3rd and 8. Franklin trying to extend the play, and that is going to be short of the line to make, as he was looking to his favorite receiver, T.J. Moe, who was covered by Damian Swan. And that is going to be short.
Got his feet in, sets up a shorter field goal. Keep in mind they missed the last field goal that they tried.
Andrew Baggett made from 38, missed from 43. This shortest attempt of the night for him at 25. He puts it through, so that breaks the tie. The first-year kickers on both sides tonight. Georgia's offense, they've been able to respond time and time again. Aaron Murray came into the season with so much hype. As for his night.
Well, they weren't doing it on third down, but when they had to do it, he was accurate. He had the time. When he's had time, he's thrown some pretty darn good balls.
Murray 16 of 25, 151 yards. Did have the one interception in the first half, but he's been coming on strong, as has James Franklin. These are two guys that fit their team system well.
There's no question. And what you've seen from Franklin, to be frank about it, is they have blocked Jarvis Jones and given him time. Part of that is with the pace. They've been able to get the ball out quick. But the other part is just getting a body on a body. And when he's been given time, he's been able to find his receivers.
Sheldon Richardson got everybody's attention earlier this week with what ended up being the quote of the week in college football, calling Georgia's style of play old man football. We've got an old-fashioned game right here at 20-17, SEC style. Todd Gurley, the freshman, with the return.
You know, lost in all that talk about Sheldon Richardson, he's a really good player.
Sure is.
285 pounds. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Sapp. He's a good Warren Sapp. He's the same kind of size, has a good quick first step. He is the key to that defensive front.
He's the kind of player that Missouri needs to land in recruiting going forward to compete in the SEC. Big, strong, athletic, powerful. He was the #4 overall prospect when he came out. You got to have that kind of defensive lineman to have success in this league. Murray now finding more success here in the second half with Marlon Brown with the short reception. Second and 6 now. Early flanking Murray. Missouri showing a little bit of pressure. They back off and the flag comes in.
Gurley jump.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 3 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
Tess, did you see how that happened? Gurley must have been in some kind of a protection because they shifted late.
Yep.
And they showed a blitz, and Gurley jumped forward to kind of take it.
As soon as the linebacker, Andrew Wilson, started making his forward steps, Gurley got ahead of himself, thinking pass pro. Second and 11. Murray slings it downfield, but unable to connect with Michael Bennett.
They got some pressure that time off the left side onto Murray. Rushed that throw, but that again would have been a good catch. This thing that's a little bit behind him. No, it was in front. Yeah, that should have been caught. That's the second time he's dropped one here tonight.
Third and 11. Here at the Zoo. Murray downfield and able to get it, and Marlon Brown still on his feet as he has the Dogs in striking position again.
Nicely protected. They came with a blitz, and this was excellent protection and picked up all the way around. And remember what they talked about. If we could get protection, Murray would find his guy. Brown's down there with a big reception.
And look at Sheldon Richardson saying, "Give me a break, coach." Michael Bennett now back to the inside. Nice move by Bennett. And just like that, Georgia has moved right down the field. And now Michael Bennett is limping off. A lot of guys limping off, banged up. It's been that kind of night. Physical game, pressure-packed game. First down just outside the 11. Murray to pass again to the end zone. And that is caught for the touchdown by Marlon Brown. first lead of the night for Georgia.
Watch Marlon Brown on the inside. He's the middleman right there. Just coming right back inside. They had it in a zone. He was able, because he was protected, he was able to thread that thing.
And struggles again for Morgan, but this time he gets the bounce. The extra point goes in, 24-20 Georgia. Let's go to the studio and Wendy Nix.
Joe, thank you. It's a Dr. Pepper 10 conference update. We go to Fayetteville. It's Arkansas, Louisiana Monroe on ESPNU. And watch this. Colton Browning on a 4th and 10, complete to Brett Leonard. Louisiana Monroe has tied it up 28-all. This one's certainly worth another look. Just a beautiful play, 4th and 10. Brett Leonard on the receiving end. And over on ESPN, it's Washington and LSU. This one is over, 41-3. The Tigers advance.
So LSU stomping out Washington tonight. Here, the SEC East in what many feel is one of the real key games when you think about how the East could play out this year. Of course, South Carolina and Georgia, they will have their say in things. But it sets up tonight as to who will be in play throughout the year. Georgia got off to that slow start last season. They want stuff like that in the rearview mirror. They want to march on with all these lofty expectations set upon them. And TJ Moe smartly will take a knee. Been such an entertaining day of college football. As we share some of the images of the day, like K-State and Colin Klein just thumping through that Miami defense. Penn State, heartbreaker. 4 missed field goals. They had a chance at the end. Virginia came back to win down in Charlottesville. The other newbies of the SEC, Texas A&M came up short, and Wisconsin was upset by Oregon State. And could we have number 7 facing the pressure here? This is Murphy. Marcus Murphy out to the 29. There is Uga. That's Russ. He's going to have a big week next Saturday, Matt. They're going to officially introduce Russ as Uga 9. He's the half-brother of the late Uga 7.
He's all Bulldog, that's for sure.
No doubt about it. 2nd and 6 now. 3rd quarter coming to an end. Franklin over the middle, and Franklin gets it complete to McGaffey for a 1st down.
That McGaffey, he's come up with a couple of nice catches. I think that might be his 5th catch already, but they've all been kind of clutch.
And 0's on the clock to close out a strong 3rd quarter as both offenses were finding the end zone. Murray striking to take the lead. 4th quarter when we return to the Zoo. Well, Missouri's looking for a comeback here after Georgia took the lead. ESPN College Football Primetime presented by Miller Lite as you're watching the SEC on ESPN. Glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick. The first SEC game for the Missouri Tigers. And after a scoreless 1st quarter, it has turned into a very entertaining and highly competitive contest. Gary Pinkel been watching his quarterback James Franklin grow a bit with confidence against Mark Richt's SEC defense.
Here's a guy right there, Jarvis Jones. He's been quiet here in the 2nd half, Tess. They've done a nice job of blocking. This time he's lining up inside.
American linebacker. Franklin trying to get ahead off that option read, but he was tracked down that time by Avery Jones.
Old Jarvis Jones right there. That time he went for a little ride backwards. He jumped up inside with the big boys, and they just took him back about 5 to 6 yards off the ball.
Remember, Missouri's been shifting that offensive line. Anyway, Justin Britt moved around. They lost their best player, Elvis Fisher, their left tackle. 2nd and 6 now. Almost intercepted that time, as it was Damian Swan who could have corralled it.
Swan read it perfectly, and he jumped the coverage. Jumped right inside of TJ Moe. A little bit of pressure inside that time by Jarvis Jones. But Swan read it, like I said, perfectly, was on top shoulder and jumped that coverage.
Third and 6. Flag is down. And Franklin is able to get it just short of that line to make to Marcus Lucas, but we will check with referee Tom Ritter. Illegal shift. Fourth and 1. They decline.
Let's see what Pinkel does.
Illegal shift, 2 players moving without resetting. 5-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
So they replay the down and bring it back. So it is now a 3rd and long. A little louder right here. Overthrown as he was trying to find LaDainian Washington, who had broken free for a moment. Damian Swan back to return the Trey Barrow punt.
For the Bulldogs, number 5, Damian Swan.
They're going to fake it on 4th and 11, and he is torn down well short. That was Richard Samuel who made the special teams tackle. Can you believe that call?
Gutsy call. It's a gutsy call. If it works, you're a hero. If not, you get faces like that.
4th and 11. And they try to run Trey Barrow.
Yeah, you could have had some. That's a great job by Samuel. I mean, that's just a fantastic job by Samuel, working off the blocker and making a play. Get a hug from the head coach.
It's a guy who's been a starting running back, a linebacker for Georgia, a real do-it-all, a team leader, and he makes a great special teams play. And now a lot is going to be asked of this Missouri defense. And Michael Bennett unable to get much there, as he was well covered by E.J. Gaines coming up to the tackle.
I can't say enough about that E.J. Gaines. That kid has played tough all night long, and they need Sheldon Richardson in the game right now. On the sideline is not the place for him to be. He needs to be getting pressure up inside.
The guy whose quote set the tone of the week of hype heading into this game. 2nd and 11.
They're showing blitz and they're showing man 1-3. Now they're checking back out of it.
Malcolm in the backfield with Murray here on 2nd and 11. Murray with time and connects with Jay Rome, his tight end. Let's check in with Wendy Nix.
Joe, thank you. Over on ESPNU, Arkansas and Louisiana Monroe have gone to overtime. Keep in mind, Arkansas quarterback Tyler Wilson left this game injured. He has not played in the second half, but it's 28-all as we head to overtime on ESPNU.
Boy, how about that? With Alabama coming down the road. There's Brown. Marlon Brown just sits down.
So what's happening right now is Dave Steckel, the defensive coordinator for Missouri, he's sending his signals in, and they're showing it a little bit. And so what they've done is Murray has slowed down the pace and allowed them to show what he's doing, and then he adjusts.
See what Steckel comes with here on 2nd and 10. Marshall nowhere to go. Lost a yard that time. Coney Ely in on the tackle.
Nicely played by Coney Ely, and they were just sitting in a regular zone.
Also in there.
Yeah, Richardson back out there. This is where he needs to be. You need your best players on the field in crunch time. 4th quarter now. This is crunch time. 3rd and 11.
3rd and 11. They've asked a lot of this defense. Let's see how they respond. After the fake punt and the good field position for Georgia. And a timeout called by Aaron Murray. We will take a break. Georgia facing a 3rd and 11 when we return to the SEC on ESPN. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick with you. Pressure-packed second half in Missouri's SEC debut. Trying to support their defense here on a 3rd down and 11 for Georgia. Up 24-20.
They're showing man coverage, safety down the middle.
King and Brown have had success in the second half. They keep it on the ground with Keith Marshall.
Surprised me a
little bit. They'll bring out their freshman kicker.
That surprised me a bit there, Tess. The numbers were against them in the box. They were manned up outside. They had the extra defender inside, and they ran right at it.
Marshall Morgan, kicker. Got a strong leg, got good technique. Made from 52 earlier tonight. This from 40 to go up by 7. And that big boot has the margin at a clean touchdown.
Georgia 27.
Missouri's going to have their chance. You're watching the SEC on ESPN.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Miller Lite. Because when friends come together, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And in part by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building.
Texas Pete playing the concert here in Columbia, or as they like to say, College Town, USA. Home team is trailing number 7 in the country by 7 here in the 4th quarter. TJ Moe back to return the Jamie Lindley kick. Moe's been all everything through the years. But he won't get a chance here. Let's check in with Wendy Nix.
Joe, thank you. We go back to ESPNU. Arkansas, Louisiana Monroe. Arkansas kicked a field goal. This is 4th down for the Warhawks. They are going for it. So 4th and 1. Arkansas has called a timeout. A reminder, Tyler Wilson left this game injured. He has not played in the second half. Arkansas 31-28 on ESPNU in overtime. We'll keep you posted. Joe?
That's the number 8 team in the country with a score that people are probably shaking their heads over. Here we got number 7 in a highly competitive game. And here goes Kendall Lawrence. Watch out! What a burst by Lawrence.
That's what he's got. He's got that speed, but lost in all that speed as he caught. He got caught too. Almost a 40-yard run on that one.
Mizzou trying to act like the quick strike offense they've always been known to be in recent years. That's incomplete. James Franklin, junior quarterback who had off-season shoulder surgery. Missed most of spring, came back. Team leader, dual threat. And it's a big moment here. This time they bottle up Lawrence. It's going to make for a 3rd and long. Check in with Wendy again.
Joe, thank you. Touchdown. Colton Browning. Louisiana Monroe Warhawks have won this game in overtime on ESPNU. Wow. Tyler Wilson didn't play in the second half. Do not forget Arkansas facing Alabama next week. The quarterback sneaks 16 yards and they win this ball game.
A stunner. Absolute shocker. As Franklin's pass was underneath and short of the line to make. So it is a 4th down here at Mizzou. 4th and 4.
They've been given protection to Franklin this whole second half.
They go empty here on 4th down. And now a timeout called by Georgia.
Their last one.
So Georgia's out of timeouts, gives us a chance to recap things with Wendy Nix and that shocker she's been talking about.
Joe, it sure does. An absolute shocker. This is how it finally played out. Arkansas leading 31-28 in overtime. Colton Browning on 4th and 1 looks to pass it, cannot, so he takes it in from 16 yards out. And the Warhawks with their first ever win over a ranked team, and it's a big one. Arkansas losing. They face Alabama next Saturday.
We sit here all off season and think we know everything going in to the year. And then you come across a night like this and you get a result like that.
And all you need, Tess, is just one injury to the wrong person and everything goes the other way. Todd Berry came through with a huge win here tonight.
Head coach there, the Warhawks upsetting an SEC power. And right here it's a 4th and 4. Number 17 in the country trying to come up with a stop against Mizzou. Franklin, and they whistle this dead.
Offense, 5-yard penalty, remains 4th down.
And back them up to a 4th and 9.
They were going to run at that, Joe.
That's Mitch Morse. They were going to run. He was coming to the near side. Mitch Morse was the starting center, who's had a shift over to tackle after their best offensive lineman, Elvis Fisher, left the game injured. And Gary Pinkel is now going to make a different decision here. Trey Barrow, the punter, comes onto the field. Damian Swan sets up and calls for the fair catch, and he's able to secure it. 9:40 to go. Georgia up by 7 here at the Zoo. The SEC on ESPN. So glad you're with us. Joe Tessitore, Matt Millen, Quick Kesnick on this night in the SEC that a lot of folks won't soon forget, because number 8 Arkansas lost to Louisiana Monroe 34-31 in overtime. And now here at Mizzou, The conference debut for the Tigers, Todd Gurley. Here goes the freshman. And Gurley able to cross midfield. Conranti Walker finally chased him down, but you get a glimpse of why they are so high on Todd Gurley.
He also got a glimpse of that old style football, and this is all it is, just the big bodies on bodies. And in crunch time, when you have to have it, you go to what you're good at, and that's what they're good at. And Gurley with a big play down that right side.
44-yard run by Gurley.
False start, 72 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Todd Gurley, who last week had a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, had 100 yards rushing, and everybody said, wow, he's as good as advertised. Comes in here to Mizzou and gives you that one moment, type of moment that can put a game away. This time unable to get to the edge as the pursuit came.
Gurley certainly has a talent. He's a big kid, 6'1", about 225, 120 pounds. He's got good speed, not great speed, but all of his best stuff's in front of him. He's just learning how to play in this offense.
I love the way he works and his attitude. Second and 12 now. A little bit of pressure, and Mitchell. He was running with the ball but couldn't secure it.
Bennett had a shot at this one. This could have been big. Murray read it perfect. They came with a blitz off the left side. They manned it up, which meant the middle was free. Bennett got to the inside. Look at this ball. That's got to be a catch. That's the third drop he's had tonight.
Of course, Michael Bennett had the two-point conversion earlier tonight, but that would have helped things out here. Now instead they face a 3rd and 12. After the incompletion to Bennett, Murray tried to find him over the center. Murray pressured, gets away, and that is incomplete. So after the big play by Todd Gurley to open things up and get Georgia out of a hole, the defense tightened up.
Nicely done by the backer, Wilson. In coverage underneath, they tried to run it off top and then get Marshall back underneath. Now watch him closing this thing. Boy, that's really well done. Watch Wilson come. That's as well played as you can play it.
Barber on to punt. Marcus Murphy going for the fair catch, and he secures it at about the 11-yard line. So 8:23 to go. Missouri trailing by 7.
Now it's time. If you're supposed to be the guy, if you're a real guy, now is the time that you be it. In big games, great players show up big. You saw him here in the second half at $137. He has 2 scores. You can forget all that stuff. Right now is when Missouri needs to come up and make some plays, and Franklin's your playmaker. And having said that, on the defensive side, it's time for Jarvis Jones to pick up where he started in the first half. We haven't seen him here in the second half.
He was all over the field in the first half, making play after play. Franklin, low snap. He's going to try to get to the edge, but Big John Jenkins tracked him down.
And his helmet came off. He's got to leave.
Helmet came off there.
Big John Jenkins, number 6. He can run. He's athletic. He's an impressive kid. I mean, it's a big man.
Second time tonight that the new helmet rule affects James Franklin, as Corbin Bergstresser, the redshirt freshman, has to run in onto the field. And in a spot like this, game on the line, 4th quarter, trailing by 7. After a tackle for loss.
Last time they ran him.
Play clock down to 3. Bergstresser able to get rid of it, and that diving effort not good enough. Now a flag is down. as Franklin tightens up that chin strap and will come back out onto the field.
Luke Stresser either has tremendous calm.
Pass interference, number 36, defense. Ball will be placed in the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Moves the chains so they can dodge that bullet with Franklin out of the game.
This kid either has tremendous calm and ice in his veins, or that's the right call. He hit him in the back. Or he had no idea that the rush was on top of him.
Franklin now. Oh, that is intercepted. And Jarvis Jones inside the 5, down to the goal line. The All-American comes up with the big play.
Tess, what did we just say? Great players play big when the game's on the line. And Jarvis Jones, in one of the rare times that he's dropping back, shows his athleticism in coverage, picks this bad boy off.
The prior play is under further review. The ruling on the field is that the runner was down short of the goal line.
They're reviewing just to see if it's a touchdown or not. But what athleticism by Jarvis Jones.
They blocked him here. Here's the end of the play. See if his knee goes down. Hands down. He's fine there.
Tough to see on that angle with it being from the back. Here's another look. Watch for the knee.
It's hard to say.
Ball on the field is that he's short of the goal line. So they would need the indisputable video evidence. Neither look there would qualify for that statement.
Jarvis Jones, he was unstoppable in the first half, rushing the passer. And now here in the second half, they kind of shut him down.
First down, Georgia.
So it is first and goal, just inside the 1 for Georgia.
Franklin never saw him because Jarvis Jones really didn't really make a drop. He just kind of sat down, what we call robbed the middle.
Now those faces say it all.
Yeah, see it right here. He doesn't even move. That's just hanging in the middle. You're taking away any kind of underneath throws, or anybody comes, you're going to bump him off. He never saw him. Franklin never saw him, and Jarvis Jones was the recipient of the errant throw.
Here's Gurley. Touchdown, Dogs. He had big 262-pound Quavon Hicks in that offensive line pushing the way forward. And Todd Gurley finishes what Jarvis Jones started. He's a difference maker. Jarvis Jones setting up his team to seal this deal. As they look to push the margin now to 14 with 7.5 minutes to go. 17 unanswered points by Georgia. This is the SEC on ESPN. Jarvis Jones, everybody's All-American at linebacker. You've seen so much out of him tonight, Matt.
And he did it a variety of different ways. In the run game, he showed patience when he had to. When they tried to run right at him, he handled it. When they tried to pass protect him, he ran right past it. And then in his pass game as well. Every facet of the game that you could play in, Jarvis Jones has gotten a check mark in, because he's played a fantastic game here tonight. Player of the game.
Remember, the score was 20-17. Missouri. TJ Moe on the return, lost the ball at the end of that play and then just fell on it. And all of a sudden, 17 unanswered points, and Georgia in control. Of course, Monday Night Football returns. They got a prime time doubleheader. It starts with Susie Colbert, Monday Night Countdown at 5. At 7, it's Bengals Ravens. At 10:15, it's Chargers Raiders. Monday night on ESPN.
this
Bengals
last
have
season.
to deal with this guy who's so talented. Ray Rice, former Rutgers star.
And Joe, still getting better. He's just getting settled in. Ray Rice is a powerful guy with great speed, catches the ball well out of the backfield. He's everything you want.
Clay Johnson being tended to. Of course, that Bengals team has former Georgia star A.J. Green, who many think could be one of the real breakthrough players of the year.
Boy, he's a talented, big, physical man.
Saw it in his rookie season. That is Costa Valfles, who was playing special teams. He was the injured Georgia player. He was able to walk off.
So, Tess, the same thing goes right now for this Missouri offense. Franklin, you're down by 14. Franklin's got to be the guy. He's got to be able. He's got to have some intensity. He's got to pick the pace up a little bit. There's time in this game to get everything right back.
There's another low snap. Remember, a new center here in the second half, and that was thrown just to the outside as Malcolm Mitchell tried to jump it. Got his hands on it for a moment. Tough task for Mizzou with the changes on the offensive line. Brad McNulty's been playing center, backup center. At one moment tonight, he played the position with just one shoe. Been that kind of night. Do what you have to do. Another low snap, and here goes Franklin as he tries to get to the edge and goes ahead for about 8 yards.
James Franklin, the ball carrier.
Reminder, after we finish things up, Sports Center is coming up next. John Buchagras, Bram Weinstein will have all the day in the reaction to Arkansas. And look who's there. Right on the spot. Ball is loose and live, still rolling inside the 10, and finally scooped up that time. Jordan Jenkins recovered the fumble that Jarvis Jones forced. Man, oh man, is he having a night.
Yeah, I don't know how many different national awards they give out weekly, but Jarvis Jones, he did it again, just ran right past Britt, and that is classic. Coming off the backside, having great awareness of knowing that the passer's about to throw and smacking the ball out, forcing the fumble.
It's like vintage old school 1980s NFL films of watching Lawrence Taylor seeing it from about 5 yards away as he raises up his hand knowing he's going to swap it away. And once again, Jarvis Jones, because of his efforts, puts Georgia in a 1st and goal situation.
He's been running by Britt all night long. No move, just pure speed.
There was movement on the left side of the line.
Prior to the snap, false start. 72 offense, 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Four starters on defense suspended, but when you have Jarvis Jones, he can make up for a lot.
Well, he had 13.5 sacks to lead the SEC a year ago. He's got 2.5 right now. Plus all kinds of pressure here tonight.
Then Malcolm puts his head down, goes for about 3. Last 2 possessions for Missouri have been Jarvis Jones with an interception and then a sack and a forced fumble.
You know what has quietly turned in a real nice night here has been this offensive line for the Georgia Bulldogs.
Yes, as the evening has progressed.
Yep. Now they've run for 112 yards and they've thrown for 240, which aren't necessarily big numbers, but 350 yards. They've protected Murray well. They've opened holes inside because this Missouri defense has played them tough.
Second and goal. Ken Malcolm cuts back, and he is stacked up by Donovan Bonner. Sheldon Richardson also on the tackle.
And I think the thing for this offensive line is, you know, you have just a freshman out there, number 71 there, Theus. Burnett, he's just playing a little, you know, this is his first full year of going. You can see right now, they utilize your size. They've started to do that here in the second half. They had to contain Richardson. I think they did that. And then Murray's experience started off slow, but because he'd been protected here in the second half and has gotten good opportunities, Murray's been able to make some big throws.
Third and goal. Play clock is down to 1. And here is Ken Malcolm. Another touchdown for the Dogs.
Not touched. And that's all O-line up front. The touchdown's brought to you courtesy of number 29 right there. Watch this big offensive line get into people. They caught him in a stunt. Remember we talked about that, using your movement. Sometimes your movement will take you right into a big hit. Sometimes it causes gaps.
24 unanswered points by Georgia. Let's get to Wendy Nix.
Joe, thank you. Let's get to the Pac-12. UCLA up 9 over Nebraska. Brant Hundley here to Jonathan Franklin. Touchdown, but Nebraska has just kicked a field goal. It's now a 6-point ball game, under 2 minutes to play. On ESPN, it's Illinois at Arizona State. Taylor Kelly looking for Chris Coyle. Have to scramble a bit, but he will find him in a 30-yard completion and run, and it's a 14-0 ball game on ESPN. Arizona State with the lead, but the shocker from Fayetteville. Arkansas up 28-7 at one point, but that's 4th and 10 for Colton Brown, who ties it up for the Warhawks. They win it in overtime. It would be the quarterback keeper again, scrambling in from about 16 out. And number 8 Arkansas falls to Louisiana Monroe, their first win ever over a ranked team.
You just never know what's going to happen. And it happens tonight to Arkansas on a night when Georgia came in here, and a lot of folks close to the Georgia program, they're a little nervous about this one, the atmosphere that they were facing here at Mizzou, but they have handled themselves so well in this second half. Remember last year, Matt, they got off to that slow start. This year, here they go. Florida Atlantic next week, and then they get into the meat of that SEC schedule. October 6th at South Carolina. Media pick Georgia. A lot of folks like South Carolina in the East. That's going to be a showdown come October 6th.
You know, the thing with this team, though, because they have some inexperience in that offensive line, they'll get better as the season goes on. You got young running backs. They're going to be gaining experience in the offensive line. It's going to be a fun team to watch. They'll get better.
Kendall Lawrence on the carry there. The other thing that you notice when you look at that schedule for Georgia is they don't have to play LSU and Alabama. And you know, that gets Steve Spurrier chatty when you tell him Georgia doesn't have to play LSU and Alabama. And here is Kendall Lawrence coming out of the backfield. This Missouri team.
Missouri team's a gutty team.
Oh, they got talented pockets. They got injured tonight, Matt.
Yeah,
they had to move things around on that offensive line. They got beat up a little bit, and they're facing a team that people think is a national title contender if things can break their way and get their shot at one of the big boys in the SEC title game. Who knows how this Georgia team matures and develops. Jordan Jenkins with the tackle of Kendall Lawrence, but a first down for Missouri. Here's Lawrence with another first down. Missouri was ahead in this game late in the third, 20-17. This was a tight, competitive game. And then Jarvis Jones with his stellar defensive play broke things wide open. Franklin now. He zips that ball complete to T.J. Moe.
You know, that number 26, that Malcolm Mitchell out there, he was a receiver a year ago. He's just a sophomore. They moved him over to play defense, and I'll tell you what, he's a pretty darn good corner. He's got good cover skills.
There's Marcus Murphy. Mitchell sprained his ankle last Thursday, so he missed last week. Was a starter at receiver. He was recruited as a defensive back, but he's so talented he can do it every which way. Now there's big John Jenkins, one of the top NFL prospects, the senior from Meriden, Connecticut. Not exactly a football powerhouse that produces SEC starters, but he is one of the best in the conference. So while they tend to John Jenkins, let's look at some of the pressure that James Franklin has been under tonight.
Well, Franklin happens to be on the wrong side of Jarvis Jones. When he ran, they were on him. He needs to learn to go down or he's going to get hurt. And then Jones came a variety of different ways.
This was the interception that would set things up, and then not long ago the sack, fumble, recovery that would lead to Georgia's most recent touchdown. There aren't a lot of guys in all of college football that you trade out for this guy. I mean, he's one of the very, very best, truly an impact player. We toss that term around all the time. This is a guy that changes a game.
You know what always impresses me about the type of effort that he had here tonight and the kind of show that he put on. Going into this game, Missouri knew all about Jarvis Jones, and they said, look, there's one thing we have to be able to do. We're going to have to make sure we block Jarvis Jones. And so you go into the game and you know that's part of your game plan, and what the heck happens is Jarvis Jones is all over the field, and doesn't matter what you throw at him, he beats everybody.
The other thing to discuss here, Matt, we talked about it this morning when we were discussing this game, is, you know, people make conclusions when they see game one of the season.
Yeah.
Georgia didn't look great against Buffalo.
No, they didn't. And it looked like they kind of went through the motions. And they didn't. They played okay here tonight. They're going to get better. This is a Georgia team that's going to continue to improve as the season goes on. We talked about a little earlier that offensive line will get better. Their bevy of young running backs will continue to grow. And I like what they're doing defensively, and they're going to get guys back. Keep in mind, there's 4 guys suspended who aren't playing, who are real players. So
Ari Rambo, the All-American safety, is going to be there. That was a 4th and 1 there. As we're under 3 minutes, you know, they're going to have Alec Ogletree back, Vassar and Sanders coming, so they're going to give the personnel a breather, the ability to move guys back into their proper positions and put them where they should be on the depth chart, and then watch out what this defense looks like.
I think this was kind of a game that they knew if they came in here and played poorly that Missouri would get them. And this was a game for 3.5 quarters, and then it turned the other way. And it turned largely on the play of Jarvis Jones.
That's Keith Marshall. Todd Gurley, the star freshman, Keith Marshall, the big recruit. Welcome to the SEC is the sign written right next to the Georgia bench facing out.
Now you know,
to the home fans.
Not a single player even knows that thing's written, but there's some kid there who was picking up the towels, and he said, here, let me write this.
A lot of people questioned what Texas A&M and Missouri would look like today with their first taste of SEC football. Sports Center is going to be coming up after the game. They're going to have all the day's news, including Arkansas taking it on the chin in a shocking upset as the Warhawks, Louisiana Monroe, got the best of them in overtime. Going to be other SEC battles for that Tiger, but tonight the Dogs were barking loud in the second half. Here's Wendy.
Yeah, we were talking about that Arkansas game and a huge win down there, or a huge loss rather, for Arkansas. I got to tell you, if Tyler Wilson is not healthy, that is a major blow for that team. He was lighting it up.
Meanwhile, Wendy just talked about the fact that Arizona State is leading their game against Illinois. And that team is coming in here to Missouri next week. And these two played a thriller last year. It was a heartbreaker for Mizzou. Now you got an Arizona State team with Taylor Kelly, the sophomore quarterback, playing well to start the year. Todd Graham, the offense he's had in the past wherever he's been, it could be a test next week for Mizzou. And Murray's just going to fall on this here, as we are under a minute. Schedule ahead for Mizzou. They've been circling this one for so long, it's tough to get past it, but number 7 has come and gone, and they're going to take an L. Told you about Arizona State. They're playing right now against the Illini. Leading at South Carolina is going to be a real challenge. And number 1 Alabama on October 13th will come here to Faurot Field at Memorial Stadium.
The schedule doesn't get easy, does it? I think if there's one thing that I was a little surprised at, I thought that this Missouri offense would be sharper. And I think what you really need to do is credit the defense of Georgia. I think Georgia didn't allow the run game to ever happen at all. And they only rushed for 77 yards, Missouri. And Todd Grantham's defense, I thought, played a pretty darn good, particularly up front. And then we talked about Jarvis Jones, but Big John Jennings did a good job in there, and there were a bunch of guys who played well.
Gary Pinkel's already thinking about next week, taking a little note taking, what he's going to talk to the team about, get them ready for Arizona State. Meanwhile, the Dogs, well, they open up the year the way they wanted to. They knew this would be a test, a tough environment, and they passed the test. 24 unanswered points by Georgia, 41-20, as they exploded here in the fourth quarter. The freshman Todd Gurley with a big effort. The star linebacker Jarvis Jones, the interception, the sack and the forced fumble. And Mizzou's welcome to the SEC will go down as the harsh realities of a loss. Georgia takes it on the road, 41-20. Number 7 moves forward in their season. Coming up next at SportsCenter, for Quint Kesnick and Matt Millen, I'm Joe Tessitore. Enjoy the rest of your night.